Chapter 1172. After Lin Che left, the few of them cheered. No way, it's really Lin Che. I'm not dreaming, am I? I think you're sick. You're still dreaming. It's true. I was just watching her movie yesterday. Today, I actually saw her in person. Is that for real? She even said that she wanted to cooperate with us. It's like I'm thinking about something in the day and dreaming about it at night after watching the movie. But why did Lin Che think of making games? Don't celebrities always want to do something outside? Lin Che is really too good-looking in person. That face, that figure, and those eyes. Moreover, I didn't expect her to have such an imposing manner in person. As expected of a tomboy, clean and tidy, not annoying at all. No wonder she's so popular. That's enough. Just then, KG said, "Don't celebrate too early." Hearing him pour cold water on them, they could only quiet down. But I did some research. What kind of company is Kaisheng? Look, it's really run by Li Mingyu. He's a businessman from Country M who just came to Country C. I heard he's very powerful. Look, it's a very rich man and a very powerful company. How could they have imagined that such a big company would be interested in such a small studio for a moment? The few of them continued to stand there in a daze. In the end, it was KG who stood up first. He waved his hand and walked away. We'll know when we go to their company tomorrow. If they want to see if it was a scam, their true colors would be revealed. After Lin Che went out, he said to Qin Hao, "Assistant Qin, thank you for coming to help." Qin Hao hurriedly said, "Madam, you're too polite. It's my duty." Lin Che smiled. "Why would I? You're so good." You don't have to be Gu Jing's assistant. You can do anything. Ever since she found out that the inconspicuous Qin Hao was a hacker, she immediately admired him. He no longer felt that his follower was very good at flattering him, as he had in the past. Qin Hao chuckled and said, "It's my great honor to follow Mr. Gu. I don't care about anything else." Lin Che looked at him and said, "Why did you stop being a hacker and follow Gu Jingza?" He said, "Back then, I wasn't that old. Because I was a hacker, I hacked into a four mafia and got my hands on a top-secret system. I wanted to sell it to them and make a lot of money. In the end, I was targeted by them, and they captured my entire family. They said that they would kill one person a day unless I showed up and accepted my death. At that time, I was really desperate. I even wanted to carry an explosive bag and die with them. But President Gu suddenly appeared at this time. He brought his men to me and said that he had seen my hacking and thought that I was stupid. At that time, I was very angry and said that he knew nothing except for a little money. But I didn't expect that he didn't mean that I was stupid. He said that I was talented and that there were many ways to earn money. I didn't need to steal it all. So at that time, I didn't believe him either. Later, it was President Gu who ordered his men to wipe out the branch of the mafia and brought my family back. It was then that I realized what a hacker was. I was indeed stupid because I thought I was already the smartest person in the world. In fact, there is always someone better than you. Hacking is just a skill. The people who really change the world are those who use their talents for the right things, such as President Gu." Qin Hao sighed and nodded at Lin Che. "Yeah, it doesn't sound like much." Mr. Gu was only 8 years old then. Duh. Fuck, could you have told me your age in advance? Lin Che imagined the 8-year-old Gu Jingza bringing his men to look for Qin Hao. Qin Hao said, "Later on, I entered the Gu Corporation to work, but I started from the bottom. Until 13 years ago, I became Mr. Gu's assistant." Lin Che looked at Qin Hao and said, "You're really amazing, really." Qin Hao said, "If it wasn't for Mr. Gu, I would have died a long time ago. Now I understand that using my own efforts to earn recognition is more satisfying than stealing or using dishonest means. So, meeting Mr. Gu is the luckiest thing that has happened to me in my life." Lin Che looked at him and thought of herself. Yes, meeting Gu Jingza was also the luckiest thing that had happened to her in her life. That night, she made plans with Gu Jingza to have a good meal together with the children. It was a little troublesome to bring the children out to eat, but the feeling of going out to eat with the family was also very enjoyable. Gu Jingza carried the little one in his arms, and the big one followed him. The four of them entered a private room and ordered food. The little one was sleeping, and the big one was eating quietly. Lin Che said with a smile, I went with Qin Hao today. Qin Hao helped me teach King and the others a lesson. Qin Hao is really amazing. Really? You have such a good hacker by your side. Why don't you let him make good use of him and become an assistant? I just took a liking to his logical ability, so I promoted him. Gu Jingze looked at her and said, a person who can write programs well, memorize so many different codes, and write code while thinking. He is also fast enough to hack into many systems. This shows that he has good logic, memory, and coordination. So I think he is a good talent, so I want to make good use of him. Lin Che wanted to say that he was arrogant, but when she thought of how he had wanted Qin Hao when he was only 8 years old, she didn't dare to say it. She pursed her lips and said, but I still think it's a pity. Moreover, this kind of talent learns other things very quickly. Isn't he doing very well now? When he wants to use these talents, he can use them. But the company has enough programmers, but there aren't enough people who can coordinate these programmers. He could be the best in all aspects, which means that I didn't choose the wrong person. This is the position he should be in, understand? Lin Che rolled his eyes and said, okay. Gu Jingze said, you can also let him teach Nian Nian. Gu Xinian immediately looked up. Okay. Lin Che looked at him. You're so young. Why are you learning that? Go to kindergarten. Gu Xinian said, I'm in it. I won't delay it. Gu Jingze said, yes. You can go to your uncle's place less, so you can make time to learn programming. Lin Che shouted, what? You're still going to Black Eagle's place. Gu Xinian said, okay, I have to go back to do my homework. Dad, hurry up and eat. Lin Che glared at Gu Xinian. He had already started to eat without looking up. Gu Jingze smiled and shook his head. After they left, Lin Che pulled Gu Jingze and asked, why did he go to Black Eagle? Chapter 1173. Gu Jingze said, he's probably going to check out Blackhawk stuff. Damn, what good stuff can Blackhawk have? Of course. What? Some equipment that can't be bought in China. Such as eavesdropping equipment, firearms equipment, and heavy machine guns. Lin Che said, no, it's too dangerous. Definitely not. Gu Jingze could only hug Lin Che lazily. If he wants to, you can't stop him. It's good to know about it early, so that he won't be in danger if he doesn't know how to use it. You're too indulgent of Nian Nian. Victory Corporation. Lin Che had an appointment with KG and the others, so he arrived early. Chen Lanshan didn't know what was going on, so she hurried over when she heard that Lin Che was here. Miss Lin, you're here today for... Oh, Manager Chen, I brought a few people from the studio here to have a look. What studio? Chen Lanshan was still confused. Lin Che said, it's the small gaming studio from before. Oh, you found it? Chen Lanshan was curious. She had been looking for it for the past few days, but she heard that the studio didn't want to be found, so they purposely blocked their contact information. But Lin Che actually found it? Lin Che nodded. Get ready. They'll be here today, so we can talk about the cooperation. Chen Lanshan couldn't help but look at Lin Che deeply. She was a little suspicious, but she still hurried to do what she had to do. Not long after, they arrived. The university students looked at Victory Corporation. It was indeed different from small companies. They had worked for small companies before, doing part-time jobs or talking about cooperation, but they only needed to rent one floor of an office building. But Victory Corporation was their company. They sighed. Looks like it's a big company. Hee, even the receptionist is so pretty. All right, let's see if the receptionist is here or if someone else is here. Yeah, no matter how pretty she is, she can't be as pretty as Lin Che. As they talked, they entered the company together. KG was silent as he scanned the inside and outside of the company. They went upstairs, and Chen Lanshan received them. Seeing that they were just a few students, she felt even more unreliable. Finding a few students to play games with? Was he crazy? However, Lin Che did not feel that way at all. He just asked them to sit down first and said to them, I've already booked this floor as an office. Mr. Lee specially assigned it to me. He's invested 200 million yuan in the initial stage, and if the results are good, he'll invest more. But the key now is you guys. Are you guys willing to cooperate with me? Investing 200 million yuan into a game, their little game only cost tens of thousands of yuan to complete. 200 million. How big of a game would that be? KG was obviously not someone who would listen to one side of the story, so his expression did not change. He just looked at Lin Che and said, "We can keep the studio's name, right?" Lin Che nodded. "Of course, when we signed we signed a contract like this. Your studio belongs to Triumph Corporation. I'm the developer, Genesis is the producer, and all the copyrights belong to both of us. Without both of our consent, no one is allowed to sell it out. When the time comes, we'll split the profits. Since we'll definitely get more sponsors than you, our share will be higher, but your share is not to be underestimated. I believe you guys are better at calculating than me. In terms of credibility, this has always been based on mutual respect. I respect you guys, and I hope you guys will respect me. I'm a public figure, and I don't dare to easily cheat people. If I get into a lawsuit, I'll be more annoyed than you guys, so we signed a contract reasonably." The few of them looked at each other with their mouths agape. They did not expect such a big pie to fall into their hands. Was it really possible for them to set up a studio and work with such a big company and a superstar like Lin Che? KG said, "You're going to work with us just because of small game?" Lin Che said, "Yes, you're just university students. You don't have enough resources, but you can make such a good game. If you're given enough resources, you should be able to do even more. However, this is just how it should be. So, if you want to work with us, you'll have to show us what you're capable of." Hearing this, Chun Lanshan hurriedly said, "That's right. Triumph Corporation is willing to provide the funds, but the other party has to be the real deal. If they aren't, we won't be so stupid as to let them fool us. As for the product, I hope you can give me a prototype as a sample. If CEO Lee is satisfied, you can continue working on it." KG looked at Chun Lanshan's arrogant expression, distrust written all over his face. He snorted coldly, thinking that it was funny. However, the general distrust of university students was also a habit of old companies. He was not good at dealing with people, and this also stemmed from his own pride. When he heard what she said, he immediately stood up and said, "Okay, a prototype. We'll hand it over next month." Chun Lanshan snorted. "Okay, I'm looking forward to it too." Lin Che turned around and looked at Chun Lanshan, not saying a word. Seeing that KG and the others had decided to leave, she followed them out. "KG," she shouted as she walked over. "Manager Chen might not be good at technical skills, but she's a veteran in public relations. That's how cooperation is. She doesn't like you guys because you guys really don't have any experience. But I know that if you guys can produce results, she won't go back on her word. It's just that whether you guys can convince her wholeheartedly will depend on you guys." KG said, "We can talk about what game you're planning to make. Okay, take this document first. If there's any problem, we'll talk about it in the next few days." She had already made up the basic ideas at home and made them into a folder. Of course, Gu Jingze had helped to organize them because she was a newbie and didn't really know how to use these things. Gu Jingze had only used half an hour to organize her scattered ideas. The few of them spent a few days looking at Lin Che's ideas, talking to him on the phone, chatting with him, and discussing it. KG originally thought that Lin Che was just doing it for fun. He never imagined that Lin Che's thoughts would coincide with his own. Lin Che was planning to make a PvP game, and there were more team battles. You could form a random team and match them up directly. This was especially true for mobile games, where you could form a team directly and it wouldn't take up too much time. You could play whenever you wanted. Client-side games were more complicated, but they could also be matched up. At the same time, you could directly invite people to play, either on the spot or with your own friends. Chapter 1174. In terms of combat, it was much more complicated. It had a high requirement for balance and design. This was a huge test for the game designers. From the beginning, they were prepared to do it casually. Now, they were ready to do it properly. In less than a month, they really brought out the prototype. It was at Triumph Corporation. Lin Che arrived first, but heard people talking behind him. "Manager Chun, they really came today. I heard they're just a few university students. Lin Che really knows how to play us." "That's right. No matter how well they do, Boss Lee won't accept it. He's not an idiot. Why would he let a few university students make something that's worth billions? That's not the way to play with women. Lin Che is just good looking, and he's giving her money. Everyone thought it was strange. If Li Mingyu really invested because he wanted to pick up girls, then why didn't they see Li Mingyu interacting with Lin Che these past few days? Lin Che came and went as he should. He didn't even bother to go upstairs to see Li Mingyu, and Li Mingyu didn't care about this at all. Or was it because they were impulsive and Li Mingyu found someone else? They all knew that Li Mingyu was a playboy. If he kept having women, then he was playing with them too much. Did he get a woman to specifically harm them? Lin Che, who was listening from outside, rolled his eyes. Did she look so much like a kept woman? How did it become Li Mingyu's sugar baby? Sugar baby my ass. Lin Che didn't go in. Seeing the university students, he smiled and said, "You've all worked hard recently." They had indeed rushed for work and missed a lot of classes. It was certain that they would fail this semester. But they didn't care. They were all focused on the game and didn't want it to be bad. In the office, Chen Lanshan looked at the prototype and couldn't tell if it was good or bad. It was true that she was shocked. This wasn't a standard that normal university students should have. She couldn't help but look at them. She felt strange. Was this why Lin Che liked them? Was it because they were better than normal university students? However, could they really make such a large-scale game? That was too ridiculous. They were just a few university students. How many gaming geniuses did Lin Che really find with his blind luck? She really didn't believe it. But the game was right in front of her. She knew that the prototype of the game looked pretty good. He couldn't say anything bad about them. He just looked at the university students suspiciously and felt a little worried. Lin Che said, "Very good. It's even better than I expected. It can be seen that you guys have really worked hard." Crooked Neck immediately said, "That's true. With the encouragement from the superstar Lin Che, we were all enjoying ourselves and stayed up all night. Didn't you see how much instant noodles were piled up in our dorm room?" He was still nagging, but when he saw that Chen Lanshan's expression had worsened, he quickly shut his mouth. Chen Lanshan looked at them and shook her head. He was too unreliable. "Miss Lin, although it doesn't look bad from an unprofessional point of view, we still need President Li's approval before we can continue." Hearing this, Lin Che nodded and said, "Of course, that's only right. Then I'll go take a look first." "All right." Li Mingyu's office. Chen Lanshan said directly, "Miss Lin has good intentions, but she's not a professional after all. She found a few university students, you see." Hearing this, Li Mingyu said, "Oh, are they downstairs now?" "Yes, presently." "Okay, let's go take a look." Li Mingyu waved his hand and said. Chen Lanshan was gratified to think that Boss Li probably didn't have any feelings for Lin Che anymore. Otherwise, with Boss Li's personality, he would get the woman he wanted very quickly. Why would he ignore Lin Che for such a long time? The few of them went downstairs together. When Li Mingyu came in, Lin Che was still talking to them about the game. The few youngsters were watching the game while looking at Lin Che, mesmerized. They couldn't be blamed. They had never seen a beauty like Lin Che before. Even though they were just looking, it was fine. In the past, it was rare to be able to stand together with her. Now, they didn't expect to be able to work together, talk on the phone for a month, and meet her a few times. They were really happy. Seeing this, Li Mingyu went in with a dark expression. Chen Lanshan watched from behind with the attitude of a spectator. Li Mingyu thought, even I don't dare to look at her like that. Do you guys want to die? Lin Che stood up and looked at Li Mingyu. "You're finally here. Look. We made a prototype. Take a good look." Li Mingyu went up and pulled Lin Che to the side. Hey. Why are you so young? No wonder you keep rejecting me. You like young girls more." Lin Che forcefully pushed away the arm that was grabbing onto him. "Stop talking nonsense. That's true. Let me ask you, are you as handsome as Gu Jingze? Are you as rich as Gu Jingze? Are you as charming as Gu Jingze? This is why I'm rejecting you. Do you understand?" Seriously, it was too infuriating. Li Mingyu said, "Can't you save me some face?" "Sorry, I can't." Lin Che harumphed and pushed him away to continue watching the game. Li Mingyu harumphed. But when he looked back, everyone was looking at him. He quickly turned back and smiled. "What do you think?" Only then did Chen Lanshan walk over. "Look, Manager Li, these are university students." "Oh, they're third-year students. Which school are they from?" "We're from a university," he said with a crooked neck. Being in the same room as a rich man like Li Mingyu, he was much more well-behaved. Li Mingyu looked at the prototype on the screen. This is the prototype? That's right. I think it's pretty good, Li Mingyu said. Chen Lanshan was stunned. She wondered what Li Mingyu was doing. She added, Sir, these are only third-year students. That's a 200 million investment. I think. Li Mingyu didn't look at her. He turned to Lin Che. What do you think? Lin Che said, a prototype made in a month is definitely not satisfactory. We've found some problems and will continue to modify it. Anyway, this is the prototype. You can look at the rest. Li Mingyu nodded. It's your choice. Do as you see fit. Lin Che felt a little guilty. Don't do that. Give me your opinion too. There's no need. I trust your judgment. Really? I'm embarrassed that you trust me so much. Don't be embarrassed. You could do whatever you want. I think it's pretty good. Chen Lanshan was speechless. 200 million. He was going to play with Lin Che just like that. Didn't he not want to sleep with her? Lin Che laughed. All right then. Don't blame me if I lose money. Why would I? I believe that you won't let me lose money. I trust you. Just tell me when you've lost money in the past. I trust your foresight and ability, especially your luck. Get lost. Chapter 1175. Lin Che said, You'll die from losing money. Li Mingyu said, Hee of course. If I lose too much money, I'll get it back from someone else. He was obviously talking about Gu Jingze. Lin Che said, We're working together. Who are you going to get it back from? Don't even think about it. I'll make you lose your underwear. Wow, you're quite arrogant. If you can lose all my money, that's something? Lin Che wondered how rich he must be to be so arrogant. However, as the two of them were fooling around, they didn't notice that someone else was watching them. For a moment, they felt that the two of them were too shocking. Chen Lanshan was dumbfounded. She had thought that since Li Mingyu was here, he wouldn't just stand by and watch. She didn't expect Li Mingyu to indulge Lin Che so much. Moreover, looking at the two of them, Li Mingyu and Lin Che seemed to be very familiar with each other. Lin Che didn't seem to care about him fooling around, and Li Mingyu was smiling as if he was very happy. What was even more surprising was that Li Mingyu had many women around him in the past, but none of them dared to talk to him like this. All of them were respectful to Li Mingyu. However, she didn't see the word respectful on Lin Che's face at all. The way the two of them were acting, it was as if they were close friends playing around together. Li Mingyu didn't have any friends around him. No one had ever seen him being close to anyone because Li Mingyu wasn't a good person and he didn't like to talk to people. Although he had people to keep him company, most of them were business partners, bad friends, and fair-weather friends. No one could fool around with Li Mingyu in such a relaxed manner. Not to mention, this person was a woman. Chen Lanshan was still surprised when Li Mingyu said, Okay, you guys continue. Show me the results. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, we'll work overtime and try to get it done as soon as possible. Chen Lanshan didn't know what to say. She could only look at them and wave her hand. Fine, do whatever you want. Let's see how it turns out. Anyway, the money was the boss's, not hers. However, she couldn't help but wonder if she was wrong. Lin Che didn't seem to have that kind of relationship with Li Mingyu. The game definitely had to be done slowly. On the other side, the second season of Surprise Dress was about to start production. Lin Che went to work on it again. He got a few people to slowly modify and test the game according to their ideas, hoping that the game would be released soon. At this time, the kindergarten organized an outing. Lin Che and Mu Firen prepared something for the child together. Mu Firen said, I heard that you're going to the canyon. I'm really worried. Lin Che said, Don't worry, they won't choose a place that's too difficult. Sigh, it's mainly because Yun always makes me worry. Lin Che smiled. There's still Nian. He'll definitely take care of little sister. I hope so. Lin Che was just trying to comfort Mu Firen. Actually, it was a little worrying for the children to go out. As a mother, how could she worry about her child? It was as if her child would be in danger at any time. Even if she was sleeping soundly in bed, she would still go over to check on him. It was as if he was not under her eyes. He was in danger. He prepared food and drinks for the children, packed their school bags, and sent them out to play. The school bus stopped outside the kindergarten. Lin Che walked over and said, Nian, take care of Yun. Gu Shinian said yes. And Li Wei. Gu Shinian looked at the child behind him and didn't say anything. It was obvious that the two of them weren't that close. Lin Che pulled Nian Yin and said, "What's wrong? Didn't Li Wei say that he's your classmate? Why don't you seem to be on good terms with him?" Gu Shinian said, "I don't like girls." Lin Che was speechless. "He's a boy, but I think he's weaker than girls." Lin Che said, "Maybe it's because you're not familiar with him. Don't judge him too much." Gu Shinian still pouted. Lin Che said, "All right, you're the one making friends. I won't interfere. All right, it's weird this time. Take care of Yin Yin. Don't worry." Lin Che patted his little school bag and let him go up. Watching the group of people leave, Lin Che felt a little unhappy. He was definitely worried. He probably wouldn't be able to sleep well for the next 2 days. But the child had to let go and experience things for himself. Whether it was good or bad, he would have his own judgment. Lin Che wouldn't say that he was worried and wouldn't let him play with the school. The canyon was less than 3 hours away from B City. They brought tents and would camp there at night before returning the next day. It was the children's first time camping, and they were very excited. But the teacher was so nervous that she didn't dare to sleep. Gu Shinian had been with Yun Yun the whole time. Yun Yun said, "Nian Yin, can I sleep with you at night?" Gu Shinian said no. "Why?" "Because you're a girl. Girls have to sleep with girls." "Is that so?" "But Uncle Mo always coaxes me to sleep at home." "That's your dad." Gu Shinian said, "All right, I'll tell you a story later to coax you to sleep." "Okay?" Okay. Yun Yun sat there obediently. The people at the side couldn't get in between the two of them and just sat there looking at them. Yun Yun was actually quite popular in the kindergarten because she was cute, like a little princess. She was clean every day and had a chubby face. The teacher liked her, and the children followed the teacher's preferences and liked her. But Yun Yun only played with Gu Shinian and never liked to play with others. Gu Shinian was so scary. When he was with Yun Yun, no one dared to provoke him. Little Li Wei was sitting inside. Yun Yun looked at Li Wei sitting there alone, looking very lonely. She picked up a small bag of snacks and walked over. "Here, eat this." Li Wei looked up and looked at Yun Yun. Yun Yun said, "This is really delicious. My mom brought a lot for me." Li Wei reached out and wanted to take it. Gu Shinian walked over and pulled Yun Yun over. "Don't run around." Yun Yun was pulled back and looked at Gu Shinian. "Brother Nian." Li Wei looked up at Gu Shinian and didn't say a word. His gaze slowly lowered. Gu Shinian narrowed his eyes as he looked at Li Wei and pulled Yun Yun back to where they were sitting. Yun Yun said curiously, "Brother Nian, why can't you play with him? My mom said that Li Wei's dad is Annie Lin Che's friend." Gu Shinian said, "If I say no, then no." Chapter 1176. Yun Yun pursed her lips. She was a little unwilling, but she had always listened to Gu Shinian, so she could only nod. Looking at Li Wei, she felt that he was a little pitiful. He had been sitting there without a single friend. Before half the night had passed, the teacher brought the children to play games. But just as they started, suddenly they felt that a few people were missing from the grass. "Teacher!" A few people came and took a few children away. A student raised his hand and said, "What? Taken away? When did it happen?" "When we came over." The teacher was stunned. She quickly mobilized all the teachers to look for them. Instantly, the grass field was in chaos. The teacher looked around. The key students were still there. Then, what happened to the few students who were taken away? At this moment, a large carriage suddenly rushed in. "Get out of the way." A teacher saw it and shouted with all his might. All the students around him ran away in panic. The children were also scattered. At this moment, Yun Yun was still in shock. Suddenly, she felt a hand pulling her. She raised her head and saw a dark-skinned, burly man carrying her with all his might. "Ah, Brother Nian," she screamed. But at this moment, there was a banged-out a gunshot sounded. The man fell to the ground. Yun Yun also fell to the ground. She raised her head and saw Nian Yin standing behind her with a gun in his hand. There was still a wisp of smoke coming from the muzzle. She clutched her chest and wanted to turn back to look. But Gu Shinian pulled her up. "Don't look, follow me." Yun Yun stumbled and ran out after her. Gu Shinian pulled her out. Behind them, someone had already noticed them. In front. "Look, it's the one with the gun." Yin Yun said in shock, "Brother Yin, what should we do?" Gu Shunyan's face was calm. He didn't turn back, and his footsteps were steady. He just pulled her along and patted her. "Don't look back, follow me." Yin Yun was in a mess. She ran with him. Suddenly, she saw that they had reached the end of the road. In front of them was a canyon. If they went any further, it would be a bottomless abyss. Yin Yun shouted, "Brother Yin, what should we do?" Gu Shinian turned around and saw that a few people had already rushed over. He looked directly at Gu Shinian and chuckled. "Brat, you're amazing. How old are you? You already know how to use a gun. But now, you have nowhere else to go. Be good and come back with us. There's plenty of ice cream at home. You can have some chocolate once." They looked at Gu Shinian and Yin Yun. Yin Yun pulled Gu Shinian's arm in fear. Soon, he had already retreated to the edge of the cliff. Gu Shinian and Yin Yun held onto each other tightly as they watched a few people force two people back. One of the men had already stretched his arm out. He was about to grab Gu Shinian, but at this moment, suddenly, someone rushed over from behind. The child's delicate voice, screaming, ran over, directly hugged the man's leg, fell to the ground, not letting him go forward. Gu Shinian lowered his head and saw that it was Li Wei. The big man couldn't come over, but Gu Shinian and Yin Yun had nowhere to go. Gu Shinian glanced at the cliff behind him. He then raised his head and looked at Li Wei. The man kicked Li Wei's body, and before Li Wei could move, he flung him away. Gu Shinian gritted his teeth and pulled Yin Yun. "Jump!" Brother Yin, I can't. Jump with me. You will be fine, trust me." But Gu Shinian hugged Yin Yun. "Hug my waist." Then he felt Yin Yun hugging him obediently. He jumped down the cliff first. Yin Yun's scream rang out. The few of them didn't expect Gu Shinian to actually jump. What was wrong with this child? He actually jumped just because he didn't want to be caught. The big man looked at Li Wei on the ground. Then he threw the man down as well. Li Wei cried out and rolled down as well. The few of them looked at each other, confused. "Who is this? He looks a little familiar. I heard that Li Mingyu's child was also sent here. Could it be his? Now that you mention it, I think it might be. Then what should we do? Li Mingyu is a lunatic. If he kills his child, he will come after us. All right, now that the Gu family's child has jumped down, we have to run. If Gu Jingze gets his hands on him, he will make you wish you were dead. Anyway, one or two of us will die. All right, let's go." The few of them looked down with pity. It was so deep. It was such a waste of a child who looked so good. Below, Gu Shinian looked at Yin Yun, hugging her and comforting her. "All right, Yin Yun, don't cry, don't cry. Everything is fine now." When they jumped down, Yin Yun was really frightened. She really thought that she was going to fall to her death. But when they were in midair, Gu Shinian suddenly took out something from his pocket. He threw it out, and it hung on a tree. The two of them fell down just like that. After a while, they landed on the ground again. Yin Yun raised her head and looked at Gu Shinian. "Brother Yin, what is that?" Gu Shinian said, "It's just a small toy. Did your mother give it to you?" Gu Shinian thought that if his mother knew about this, she would probably beat him to death. He had gotten it from Haiying. Gu Shinian said, "It's all thanks to your uncle and Mo, huh?" Gu Shinian had spent a lot of effort to steal this. But if his uncle knew that he had used this to save his daughter's life, he would probably not be so angry. Yin Yun finally felt much better. The two of them walked out. As they walked, Yin Yun asked, "How do we get out now?" "Wait, they will probably come down to look for more bodies. If they can't find them, they will search for us again. We have to leave this place first, but we have to find a good way to leave. Otherwise, if we run out of energy, they will catch up to us very quickly." "Oh, okay. Brother Yin, look in front." Gu Shinian looked over and saw a dying child hanging on a tree branch. "Li Wei. It's Li Wei. Quick, get him down." The two of them spent a lot of effort to get Li Wei down. Seeing that Li Wei was still panting, they felt a lot more at ease. "Let's find a place to rest first," Gu Shinian said as he dragged Li Wei over with Yin Yun. Soon, they found a small cave. It didn't seem dangerous, so they rested for a while. Chapter 1177. Outside, in the middle of the night, Lin Che's phone rang. She hadn't been sleeping well. Because she felt uncomfortable, she couldn't feel anything. Moreover, the child kept waking up, so she couldn't sleep. She picked up the phone and heard someone screaming. Something happened at the kindergarten. Lin Shae's heart immediately sank to the bottom of the valley. Gu Jingza, wake up. Something happened to Nian Nian. After she called Gu Jingza's name, Gu Jingza felt gloomy. He frowned at Lin Shae's anxious look. What was wrong with these people? Why'd they tell Lin Shae first when something happened? He naturally wouldn't feel good in his heart for Lin Shae to be so frightened all of a sudden. After he went out and asked around, he found out that someone had taken the opportunity to kidnap the child. When Lin Shae heard that, she trembled with fear. She waited for the news, hoping that it would come, but also hoping that it wouldn't. She was afraid that it would be news that she didn't want to hear. It would be better if there was no news at all. But what would come. Not long after, the man walked over and said to the two of them, "Sir, madam, there's no news of young master." Lin Shae grabbed the person. "What do you mean no news?" Gu Jingza hugged Lin Shae's shoulders. "Don't worry. Listen to him." Lin Shae asked, "What's the situation now?" "Madam, young master jumped off the cliff with Miss Union." "What?" Lin Shae was going crazy. "There's also the young master of the Li family. He probably jumped down as well." "Li Wei?" Lin Shae trembled again. "But madam, they went down to look for him, but didn't find a body or any trace." Lin Shae's eyebrows twitched when he heard the word body. Gu Jingza frowned and waved his hand to dismiss them. How could these people talk like that? He patted Lin Shae's shoulders. "All right, he didn't find a body. It means that Nian Nian is fine after jumping off. But Nian Nian wouldn't jump off easily. He's not that stupid. Plus, he took Yin Yin with him." Lin Shae looked up. "Are you saying that he'll be fine?" "Of course." At this time, Mu Firen also rushed over in a disorderly manner. Black Hawk also came along. Upon seeing Lin Shae, Mu Firen's body began to tremble uncontrollably. "How did this happen?" The Black Hawk also said, "What's wrong with Nian Nian?" Gu Jing's voice was calm. He jumped off the cliff to avoid being chased. Hearing this, Black Hawk frowned and said, He just stole a portable launch-type wall grab from me." Lin Shae asked, "What is that?" Gu Jingza said, "It's something that can be attached to the wall. It can support the weight of 10 adults. Black Hawk said, "He might have jumped off the cliff because he had that with him, but he didn't use it much, so he can still use it, okay?" Gu Jingza said, "Since he chose to jump, it means that he is confident. It'll be fine." Lin Shae took a deep breath and sat there in a daze. Was it true? Would Nian Nian be fine? But how could Nian Nian be so daring to jump with Yin Yin? Black Hawk said, "This kid, I really can't let him into my armory next time. How dare he steal things? After stealing things, he still has the guts to use them. Sigh, I didn't expect this. He just came to me this morning to tell me that the thing was lost. The new one is worth millions. It can't be bought outside, okay?" Gu Jingza said, "I told you to be careful of him. Sigh, it's all because of you. If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked." At this time, Li Mingyu walked in. "What happened? What happened to my child?" "Your family." Lin Shae stood up and looked at Li Mingyu. "We don't know yet, but they jumped off the cliff together and we didn't find any bodies. We think they are still alive, but we can't find them yet." Hearing this, Li Mingyu's expression softened. He was silent for a while and then slammed the table again. "Fuck, who's tired of living? How dare they touch my son?" Lin Shae said, "They might have gone for Nian Yin, but I don't know why they fell off the cliff together." Li Mingyu heard this and looked at Gu Jingza. I told you not to be so smug. Look at you now." Gu Jingza snorted. "Then don't move your company to Country C. Who's the one who came here to join in the fun?" All right, stop arguing. Isn't finding the child the most important thing now?" Black Hawk said. Mu Firen quickly said, "Then what should we do now?" Gu Jingza said, "We're looking, and they're probably looking too. I'll get someone to look for them first." Black Hawk said, "Then I'll get someone to see who's still looking. If they see someone looking, get rid of them so that they don't find them first." Li Mingyu said, "Then what should I do?" Gu Jingza held Lin Shae's hand and walked out. He brushed past Li Mingyu and said lightly, "Just stay away from him. Hey, my son went missing. You asked me to stay away from him because of you. No, I have to look for him too. I want to find out who is so daring. Don't they know that he's my son? How dare they hurt my son? They must be courting death. If I find them, I'll cut them into pieces. Mufirin looked at him and was still a little worried. Black Hawk put his arm around her shoulder. All right, Nyen Nyen will be fine with him. Mufirin said, Nyen Nyen used to be very sensible. Why is he so naughty now? Black Hawk said, he's too depressed in America. Here, he is everything, so he's released. But this child is smart enough. Although he's a little arrogant and brash, he'll be a great person in the future. Nyen Nyen will come back safely if she's with him. Mufirin raised her head and looked at him. He lowered his head and said, I won't let Nyen Nyen get hurt. Don't worry. Mufirin looked at him and nodded. Why are you so nice to Nyen Nyen? Black Hawk smiled faintly and said, because I like Nyen Nyen. But Nyen Nyen has nothing to do with you. You like her so much. Black Hawk said, how do you know that she has nothing to do with me? Maybe she will in the future. Mufirin blushed. He said, moreover, Nyen Nyen is a good child. She relies on me so much. Mufirin said, it's because you're too nice to her. I don't know how to tell her in the future. If she relies on you too much and affects you. Chapter 1178. Don't talk nonsense. How can it affect me? I like this kind of dependence and this kind of influence. He frowned and said, if you don't let her come to me, I'll be angry with you. Mufirin burst into laughter. You're really, he murmured sadly. You don't know how much I wish to have a daughter like her. She's obedient and sensible. She relies on me every day so that I can spoil her to the heavens and won't let anyone hurt her. Mufirin was even more surprised and raised her head to look at him. What did he mean at this time? Li Mingyu, who had not left, sneered. Io, you want to have a daughter, and there's a cheap daughter here. You could just hit it off. Don't be so troublesome. Mufirin looked at the man behind her. Black Hawk's face darkened, and he squinted at the hindrance behind him. Li Mingyu said, what's the matter? What's the matter? It's just a thin layer of window paper. I've broken it for you. Hurry up and be together. Why do you have to beat around the bush? Why don't you just say that you want Nyen Nyen to be your daughter? Mufirin stood up in a panic, but she was so anxious that she bumped into Black Hawk's face. As the two of them kissed, Mufirin's face was in pain. Black Hawk rubbed his face, turned back, and said to Li Mingyu through gritted teeth, get lost. Li Mingyu snorted and muttered, I'm too lazy to stay. This third wheel is so annoying. I want to strip you and get you together. This Li Mingyu, what kind of friend did Lin Che have? Mufirin was embarrassed and didn't dare to look at Black Hawk anymore. However, Black Hawk knew Li Mingyu's character and didn't want to talk to him. Mufirin said, well, Black Hawk looked at her. Li Mingyu said that. Yeah, I know. I'm just joking. I understand. You can think about it. Ahem. Mufirin choked. What? What did Black Hawk say? Black Hawk said directly, Nyen Nyen needs a father, and I also want a daughter. You can think about it. If I'm by Nyen Nyen's side, Nyen Nyen will be much safer. Of course, more importantly, you also need a man. Before Mufirin could finish her words, Haiying said, I'll give you one day to think about it. If you meet me tomorrow, I'll take it as a yes. Okay, I'll go out and see what Gu Jingze is doing. The most important thing now is to find the 3 kids. Haiying said. With that, Black Hawk left. Hey, how could he be so overbearing? Mufirin was anxious to begin with. At this moment, she didn't know what to do and was in a state of chaos. He hoped that Nyen Nyen would be fine. He hoped that they could find the 3 innocent children. He also hoped that but what should I do tomorrow? In the cave. Yi was feeding Li Wei water, just like what he had seen on television. On the other side, Gu Shinian stared at Li Wei, not saying a word. Nyen Nyen said, Brother Nyen Nyen, you won't die, right? Gu Shinian said, I don't know. Nyen Nyen was shocked. Then what should we do? Gu Shinian said, if we survive tonight, someone will come to save us. Really? Why? My father, Uncle Haiying, and Li Wei's father. If they work together, there won't be a problem. Nyen Nyen said, will Uncle Mo help too? Of course. Is Uncle Mo very powerful? Of course. Nyen Nyen said, Sigh. Li Wei seems to have woken up. Li Wei woke up and looked at Gu Shinian. You, Gu Shinian said, why did you jump down? Li Wei was dirty all over. He crawled up and sat there. I was kicked down. I didn't want to fall. Really? Gu Shinian didn't like his limp appearance. All right, I didn't say anything. Why are you in such a hurry to explain yourself? Li Wei didn't say anything again. Gu Shinian said, get up and see where it hurts. He moved his hand. It doesn't hurt. He said, then get up. Let's go. Li Wei hurriedly followed him. I'm sorry. You've never let me down, right? Gu Shinian said. Li Wei bit his lip and said to him, they said that my mother did something bad to your mother. But she's a lunatic now. I don't even know her. I feel that I've let you down. Gu Shinian stopped and looked at him. He lowered his head meekly. Although the children were young, they were very sensitive, especially children like Li Wei. They had never been loved since they were young, so they were especially sensitive to the malice of others. Gu Shinian sighed and continued walking. Forget it, it's not your fault. Don't be so stupid next time and try to hug someone's leg to save us. You're so young, you won't be able to protect yourself. They'll kill you as easily as killing an ant. Li Wei lowered his head. I just don't want to see them kill you. Gu Shinian turned around and took out a small pistol. Lin Shay definitely didn't know that he had packed a lot of equipment in a school bag. She thought that it was all food, but he had already changed it. Luckily, he had brought it with him out of habit. Otherwise, he would have been done for today. He had come out thinking that the dark team couldn't keep following them. If there was any danger, he could save himself. There was also a small pistol inside. He handed it to Li Wei. This is a pistol. Li Wei had seen his father use it before, but he definitely didn't dare to touch it. He had only seen it used on television to kill people. How would he dare to use it? Gu Shinian said, if you had this in your hand just now, you wouldn't have dropped it. Instead, you could have escaped by yourself. Take it, open the safety valve, and pull the trigger to hit the person you want to hit. But while you're hesitating, you've already been hit by someone else. Do you understand? Li Wei looked at the pistol and then at Gu Shinian. He nodded silently. Gu Shinian said, then let's go. Li Wei asked from behind, what about you? What are you going to do if you give it to me? Gu Shinian fiddled with the knife in his hand. I still have this. Li Wei looked at the pistol. Then you can use this. Isn't this safer? Gu Shinian said, idiot, this is easier to use. That's why I'm giving it to you. If you use a knife, you probably won't even be able to find the enemy's main artery. Forget it. Li Wei lowered his head to look at it, and a warm feeling welled up in his heart. Thank you, Gu Shinian. Yun Yun said, you can call him Brother Nian like I do. Nian. No, just call me Gu Shinian. I'll be scared to death if I hear a man call me Brother Nian. Okay. Li Wei was very happy. He felt like he finally had a friend. Chapter 1179. Outside. Because the 3 children were missing, the search party was mobilized. Black Eagle sent people to the black market to ask. Li Mingyu sent people to investigate. Gu Jingze went after them. Suddenly, the whole street was in an uproar. For some reason, the 3 of them suddenly teamed up, especially Li Mingyu and Gu Jingze. They used to be enemies, but now they were so close, as if they were discussing something. However, Li Mingyu was causing trouble here, which made Lin Shay even more annoyed. Li Mingyu walked in and said, where's Gu Jingze? Lin Shay, isn't he chasing after them? Why is there no news? Lin Shay said, I want to know too. Li Mingyu clicked his tongue. Looks like the Gu family's secret guards can't do it either. It's been a few hours and there's still no news. Lin Shay glared at him. Stop causing trouble, okay? How am I causing trouble? My children are down there too. I'm just anxious. Then go and be anxious. Don't bother me, okay? Sigh. Shouldn't we be supporting each other? If I'm not here, I won't be able to sleep at home. Or should I get someone to knock you out? Then you'll fall asleep. You. My children are missing and you're still so cruel to me. Get lost. I can't tell that you're anxious at all. Lin Shay scolded. Li Mingyu said, that's why I'm anxious. Aya, it's all Gu Jingze's fault. Isn't the Gu family's secret guard the best in the world? There's no one they can't find. Now, Lin Shay rolled his eyes again and said, Dongzi, throw this person out if he says another word. Yes, miss, Dongzi said. Li Mingyu quickly shut up. Black Eagle walked in and asked, how is it? Is there still no news from Gu Jingze? Lin Shay said, not yet. He's not back yet. Black Eagle said, what's wrong? There's still no news. Li Mingyu said, I said that Gu Jingzi can't do it, but he didn't believe me and told me to shut up. Black Hawk said, come on, there must be a reason why he couldn't find it. Why don't you go look for it? Ha! If it were my men, they would have found it long ago. If it were up to me, what's the point of keeping it a secret? Just turn the entire sea country upside down. Haha, then the whole underworld will know that the eldest son of Gu Jingzi's family is missing. At that time, I don't know how many people are waiting to catch him and extort money from him, right? Haiying said. Li Mingyu said, Io, you're an underworld boss, aren't you? With just a word from you, who would dare to touch them? Or is it that you really can't do it anymore? I haven't been the big brother for many years, Black Hawk said. Li Mingyu laughed out loud. Oh, where's the all-powerful brother Black Eagle? Oh, where's the fearsome underworld gangster? The ruthless man who would skin people for no reason? Now he can't even handle a few minions outside. The Black Eagle said, if you're so good, go ahead. You don't practice all that. Lin Che held his forehead. He felt that these people were really too much. All right, stop talking, Lin Che said gloomily. Only then did the two of them look at Lin Che and stop. When the two of them were together, it was really noisy. Most importantly, one of them was the all-powerful underworld boss, and the other was a great CEO who had been a hero for thousands of years. Yet, they were quarreling like children. If outsiders saw this, they would definitely find it very strange. What were these two people doing? Just then, the other person came in. Gu Jingzi came back. Looking at the two of them, he said, why are you still here? Hey, you're finally back. How is it? Gu Jingzi, where's Yin Yin? The two of them surrounded him. Seeing this, Lin Che was even more surprised. Thinking of the previous time when the three of them were together, in her eyes, Li Mingyu was still an unforgivable villain, and Haiying was a devil who killed without batting an eye. Now that the three of them were together again, it was actually because their children had gone missing together. This world was really strange. Lin Che stood up and said, all right, Gu Jingzi just came back. Can you guys be quiet? Gu Jingzi said, we found some clues. They're probably not dead and are heading out. But Nian Yin knows how to hide himself, so we can't find him for now. Nian hides himself? They're not dead, are they? That's good, Li Mingyu said. Lin Che said, so now? Gu Jingzi said, Nian must have secretly left something for us. Let's wait for him. Li Mingyu said, hey, how old is he? Do you think he's some kind of supernatural being? How could he know that? Gu Jingzi said lightly, these are all necessary skills for the Gu family's secret guards. He must have learned a lot from them. Lin Che sat there. She would be worried if she didn't see Nian. Haiying thought for a while and said lightly, I'll go and tell Firen first. 5:00 in the morning. He parked his car outside Mu Firen's house. After a long time, he saw Mu Firen running out with a shawl around her shoulders. Opening the car door, she looked at Haiying and said, is there any news from Yin Yin? Haiying nodded. He looked at her and repeated what Gu Jingzi had said. Mu Firen was still anxious, but she believed that Gu Jingzi wouldn't lie to her. I hope the kids are really fine. Haiying said, Yin Yin is much more powerful than an ordinary adult. Don't worry. If Gu Jingzi says it's fine, it's fine. Mu Firen nodded. However, Haiying was still looking at her. She looked up and asked, what's wrong with you? Haiying approached her, and his cold face got close to hers. Mu Firen blinked her big eyes and looked stunned. Haiying said, you came out to see me. Mu Firen was stunned. Naturally, she understood what he meant. She lowered her head and said, of course I'll come out when you ask me to. I didn't mean that. However, Haiying still put his arm around her shoulders. But I said yesterday that if you come out, it means that you've admitted it. No matter what you say now, I'll take it that you've admitted it. But how could he do that? Mu Firen said, let's talk about this when Yin Yin comes back. Haiying smiled. Okay, I'll go and pick up Yin Yin now. I'll definitely find Yin Yin by tomorrow. Don't worry. He looked so confident as if he was saying, let's see what excuses you have tomorrow. His expression made Mu Firen speechless again. She could only lower her head and murmur, okay, we'll talk about it tomorrow. However, his expression showed that he had admitted it. How could she not fall for a man like Haiying? She knew that she couldn't escape. Chapter 1180. Gu Shinian had set up signals along the way, but he didn't think that they would be able to find him quickly. After walking for a long time, he felt a little tired. Yinyan said that she was tired too. He looked up and suddenly felt that there was someone in front of him. "What's wrong, Brother Yin?" Yinyan looked up and asked. "Shoo." Gu Shinian stopped and told her not to move. He stared straight ahead, and there he stared. His footsteps slowly moved forward, getting closer and closer. Yinyan was still wondering what was going on. She looked at the bushes in front of her and felt that it was nothing. Then suddenly, she felt someone jump out from the bushes. As for Gu Shinian, he immediately pulled her back and was about to turn around to run when he saw a few people surrounding them. "Trying to run? We finally caught you." Yinyan hugged Gu Shinian's arm again in fear. Gu Shinian looked at them. "You just want to catch us, right? Alive should be more useful than dead." The few men looked at each other. "Heh, everyone said that this kid was a god, but they didn't believe it. Now that they saw him, they really felt that he was a god." "That's right. So, come with us obediently. We'll serve you with good food and drinks." "All right, let's go," Gu Shinian said as he pulled Yunyan. He looked at Li Wei and prepared to leave. Seeing that he wasn't resisting, the man stroked his mustache. Not bad, not bad. You know your place." "Sai, why did he say that? He was just a kid. Even if he didn't know what was good for him and wanted to run, he could easily bring him back." But this kid gave them an indescribable feeling. Looking at him, they couldn't help but be on guard. It was as if this kid looked like a kitten but could turn into a tiger at any time. The few of them brought the 3 kids out. Gu Shinian looked at Li Wei. Li Wei bit his lips and looked at him. The few of them looked outside cautiously, cursing as they walked. "Damn, I almost got killed by Black Hawk today. Why did Black Hawk get involved? Who knows? Luckily, I've been there before and know what they do. Really, this business is not easy to do. Who would have thought that we would offend so many people?" That's right. Originally, they only wanted 1 person. Now they got 3. This little girl doesn't belong to any family. How could they care so much about her? Isn't it good to care? If we care, we'll have another card in our hand. That's still troublesome. Just as he was sighing, suddenly Gu Shinian suddenly shouted, There's a snake." "What? There is? Snake?" Just as they were stunned, they saw a person jump up and climb onto the tall man in front of them. The man immediately saw clearly that it was Gu Shinian who had climbed up. When he yelled that there was a snake, he leaped onto his body. Before anyone could react, they felt a cold glint, and the man's neck felt hot that a stream of blood was already spurting out. If a man were to fall to the ground, he wouldn't be able to believe it even at the moment of his death. A child who didn't seem to have anything at all actually stood up and killed him, that the people around them were also stunned for a while before they could react. They saw Gu Shinian holding a dagger in his mouth. He jumped down from the man's body and knelt down on one knee with both hands in front of him. His sharp eyes were like a cold vulture's, fixated on his prey. Then, he leaped up again and flew towards the man's neck. The man still wanted to resist. Gu Shinian shouted at Li Wei, "Shoot." Li Wei was holding a gun, his eyes fixed on the man. When he heard him, he immediately raised his arm, not daring to say anything else, and fired a shot. Bang! He didn't hit him, but the man still subconsciously went to hide. Taking advantage of this gap, he aimed the dagger at the man's throat. Another shot. 2 people had died in a row. The person next to him quickly recovered and wanted to beat him up. However, at that moment, Li Wei finally got the hang of it. He raised his gun and started fighting. The few people dodged and watched as Gu Shinian used the dagger in front of him and Li Wei used the gun to cover him. The 2 of them were actually very well coordinated. For a moment, they were shocked. What on earth had they encountered today? A few kids had actually killed almost all of their people. If it had been any other day, they wouldn't have been killed so easily. But at that moment, it was simply too shocking. However, the shock only lasted for a minute. Then, they hurriedly counterattacked. But at that moment, it was already too late. Just as they were about to surround them, behind them, a group of people suddenly dashed out from the bushes. They were holding weapons and aimed at the people in front of them. One by one, they shot at them. The remaining 7 people instantly fell to the ground one by one. The people who appeared with guns were all wearing camouflage clothes. Their faces were also disguised, and they were fully equipped. Only the blue symbol above their heads reminded them that these people were the Gu family's security guards. Gu Jing's men had arrived. Gu Xinian was still kneeling on the ground. The series of actions just now had caused his forehead to be covered in sweat. His face was covered in mud. The few people looked at him and immediately rushed over. Young master, Gu Xinian had indeed used up all his energy just now. Panting, he slowly stood up. Behind him, Li Wei was still holding a gun in his hand. He looked at Gu Xinian in a daze, as if he was dreaming. He looked at Gu Xinian with admiration. Gu Xinian, you're amazing. Gu Xinian turned around and said, "You're smart. You can still keep up." Smart? Was Gu Xinian praising him for being smart? Li Wei laughed. No more, no more. At that moment, Li Mingyu ran in from outside. Is it them? You found them, right? Li Mingyu saw that his son was indeed in the middle, smiling at Gu Xinian. He was holding a gun in his hand. Since when did his son have a gun? Stunned, he asked, Li Wei, where did you get a gun? Li Wei saw his father and hurriedly hid the gun behind him. He lowered his head and said, I am. However, Li Mingyu laughed out loud. He looked at Gu Xinian and seemed to have understood something. It seemed that throwing this child here was indeed a wise decision. Not bad, not bad. You know how to use a gun now. Following your brother Nian really makes you learn everything quickly. Come, kid, let me see you. Li Mingyu happily picked up Li Wei alive. Chapter 1181. Li Wei was dumbfounded. How could this be? Li Mingyu had never hugged him properly in the past. Every time he saw him, he would scold him for a long time. This time, he was so happy that she even hugged him and lifted him up. Li Mingyu pulled him and said, If you like it, this gun won't do. Daddy will take you to find a better one. Li Wei nodded blankly. Li Mingyu hugged him and looked at Gu Xinian. Not bad, kid. Uncle will reward you later. Let's go. Ying had already walked over. When he saw Yunyun, he rushed over to hug her. Yunyun. He hugged the child and looked at him tenderly. You must be scared, Yunyun. Yunyun threw herself into Ying's arms. Uncle Amo, you're finally here. Yunyun looked up and said, Brother Nian said that you would definitely come to save me. Of course, silly. Ying touched her little face. Live with Uncle from now on. Uncle will protect you every day, okay? Really? Okay. But what if Mummy doesn't agree? Then why don't you just let your mother live with your Uncle Mo? Gu Xinian said from below. Yunyun lowered her head and said, Can I? Ying raised his eyebrows and looked at Gu Xinian with admiration. He was indeed his nephew. He had a bright future ahead of him. Ying said, Okay, let's talk when we get back. Let's go. Gu Jingze walked over slowly. He was the kind of person who wouldn't be anxious when he knew that everything was fine. Initially, he believed that Gu Xinian would be fine. Now that he saw that Gu Xinian was smart and knew how to turn danger into safety, he was very pleased. They went back together. Mu Firen and Lin Che were relieved to see that the children were safe. But she said to Gu Jingze, I'm worried about letting them go to kindergarten now that they're like this. But they have to go to school. Gu Jingze said, Well, actually, I never went to school when I was young. I left home and went to school when I was in junior high. But at that time, there were many people following me. But that's too troublesome. Gu Jingze nodded. Yes, that means that I've never lived my own life since I was born. I don't want to live like this year after year. Then, Gu Jingze said, Well, I'll arrange for someone to build a kindergarten. What? Build a kindergarten for them. It will be the same as a normal kindergarten, but the students will be our own. This way, we can decide what to do. At least, it will be safer. It will be the same kindergarten to the outside world, but no matter what happens inside, we will know immediately. We will also find teachers that we know. This way, we can guarantee their safety. Isn't it too troublesome to build a kindergarten for them? In any case, wouldn't it be too extravagant to directly build a kindergarten? Gu Jingze said, It's not a loss. We found good teachers and facilities. There will be a lot of students who want to study here. It's an investment. That seemed a little too small for the Gu family's investment. Gu Jingze was ready. He asked Lin Che to take a rest first and asked his men to do it. Black Hawk brought Mu Fearin home. Yun Yun was so tired that she had already fallen asleep. Black Hawk sat outside and watched Mu Fearin come out. Then, he said, Yun Yun will definitely be in danger if she stays with Gu Xinyan. Mu Fearin said, but I can't stop her from being with Nyen Yin just because of this. Nyen Yin is innocent, and the children's friendship can't be like this. Black Hawk said, I didn't ask her to stay away from him, so I said, you still need someone by your side. Mu Fearin lowered her head. She had always wanted to say something, but she didn't know how to say it. Black Hawk seemed to have seen through her. He looked at her and said, you can tell me what you're thinking. Otherwise, I'll take it that you've agreed. No, Mu Fearin raised her head and looked at Black Hawk. She was used to being passive, so she didn't know how to take the initiative to say what she was thinking. She said, maybe in the past, I'm used to being ordered around. In the entertainment industry, I have no choice. I have to listen to my manager, my company, my boss, and my company, but I don't listen to much of my own opinions, so? Mu Fearin sighed and said, so I'm not good at talking. Black Hawk narrowed his eyes and said, you don't have to talk to me. She looked at him and said, but what I want to say is why, Mr. Mo? Why you treat me like this? It's not just because of Yun Yun. There must be something else. I have a child, and I'm no longer the glamorous and flawless empress I used to be. You have plenty of beauties with you, and you don't need me. Why? Why am I worth it? Black Hawk said, you're right, there are plenty of beauties. But if I, Mo Jinyin, am someone who can be moved by a face, I wouldn't have been alone for so many years. He said to her, when I want to treat someone well, I don't care who she is, whether you're an empress or not, whether you have a child or are single, because I can accept all of them, and no one will oppose me. The only obstacle for you is yourself. If there's anything else, I'll clear it for you, so that you don't have to worry about anything. Now, I don't care about what you're like. I just want to know if you're willing to be with me or not. Who would be able to refuse such words? He had given her a question that she couldn't choose from. She looked at him with tears in her eyes, feeling at a loss for what to do. Black Hawk held her hand and said calmly, Fearin, don't think too much. Everything you've got now is worth it. She was pulled into his embrace. For a moment, her eyes felt even more warm. Leaning against him, her heart felt so at ease. Although it still felt surreal, she felt more and more at ease with his heartbeat. Mu Fearin and Black Hawk had confirmed their relationship, which made her feel like a fantasy. But she had been close to Black Hawk for a long time, and she knew how he felt about her. She just didn't want to fall in love with him. Black Hawk was a careless person, and when he was nice to someone, he was really nice without thinking. For a moment, he wanted to give all the good things to her. Recently, Lin Shay had been busy building a new kindergarten, and Mu Fearin had sent Yun Yun there. It was said that Black Hawk had a stake in the kindergarten, and he had specially invited a lot of foreigners to build a new international kindergarten. For a moment, it attracted a lot of attention among the mothers. Chapter 1182. Although everyone didn't know who was behind this kindergarten, they all knew that the newly opened kindergarten had very good resources. Unfortunately, the entire kindergarten only enrolled a little more than 100 children this time. There were no more places. Many people who wanted their children to go to the kindergarten were very anxious. They wanted to find some acquaintances to help them, but they couldn't find anyone. It was because there were no acquaintances here. They didn't know where this place came from. How could they find acquaintances? They only heard that they had hired the children's education experts from the United States to train the other teachers. That was why they suddenly felt that this place was very high class. It made people feel that this place was very powerful. It was true that Mu Fearin moved to He Ying's place, but the two of them had just gotten together, so they lived in separate rooms. Mu Fearin didn't expect that He Ying was so upright that he didn't rush to live with her, but lived in separate rooms and protected her. Mu Fearin's family didn't live together in the early years. Mu Fearin was too busy. She had a lot of things to do when she went back, so she gradually didn't like going back. But one day, her family still called her and asked her to go back. Mu Fearin's family wasn't doing well when she was young, so she slowly climbed up to the entertainment industry. It was very difficult for her. In fact, if she hadn't met Mo Ding, she might not have chosen this path. Although she was beautiful, no one thought that she would become a big star. Later, when she became a star, her family also lived a lot. She gave her family a lot of money every month, including the house and the car. But these years, her family was sometimes dissatisfied. They thought that she didn't give them enough money and that she didn't continue to make money by acting. Sometimes they even thought of her when someone's family lacked something. This made her unhappy, so she didn't want to go back. This time, her family called and said that they wanted to see her. She didn't want to go back, but her family kept saying that it was really a good thing. Mufirin had to go back home. At home, Mufirin lived in a big house. She was considered a good family to be able to afford this place in City B. These were all bought by Mufirin. Although the name of the house was still Mufirin's, her daughter wouldn't take the house away from her. As long as she was still alive, she could live here. Even if she died, Mufirin would still have a younger brother at home. Mufirin would definitely take care of him. After all, she was the eldest sister and only had one younger brother. Her family relied on Mufirin, and now she was envied by everyone when she went out. Whenever she ran into reporters, they would recognize her and ask her about Mufirin's current situation. Most of the relatives in the family were no longer in contact with each other. Those who were still in contact with each other only looked up to them and felt that they were really lucky to have such a great star like Mufirin in their family. They must have done a lot of good deeds in their previous lives to have the luck to have such a big star. Mama Mu was playing mahjong at home when she saw a car coming in. The people who were playing mahjong with him said hurriedly, "Wow, what a nice car. Is Firin back?" Mama Mu saw that she was really back and quickly said, "Yes, yes. Let's go home. Firin is back, and she still has work to do." Everyone looked at her and said, Okay. Firin is back, so we must take care of her. It's not easy for such a big star to come back. She's been working so hard every day. You should make some supplements for her. Look, she's so thin. These stars all have to slim down. It's hard to be a star." Mama Mu sighed too. Yes. It's not easy to make money." Everyone looked at her and knew what she was saying. It was hard for a star to make money, but it wasn't hard for others. Look, they had such a big star in their family. She had a house, a car, a villa, and a luxury car. She must be very satisfied. Her face was full of pride, as if she wanted the whole world to know. Mufirin came back. Mama Mu said, "Firin, you came back just in time. Look, someone came to ask if you're divorced." Mufirin said, "Mom, did you ask me to come back just to ask me this?" "Of course not. Isn't it on the news that you're divorced?" "Sai, why don't you tell us?" "As your mother, I only know about it from the news." When she wanted to be a star, her family almost chased her out. She cut off all ties with them for a long time before they got back together. What could she say to her family? Divorce? How could she get divorced? So, a few days ago, someone came to ask me if you're really divorced. There's a rich guy in his 20s. Do you want to take a look? It's true, he's really rich. His family is in real estate, and he's much better than M.O. Ding. I didn't like the idea of you being together with him, because M.O. Ding didn't like them either. He didn't like Mu Firin's family, who always wanted money. So, of course, Mama Mu didn't like M.O. Ding. Mu Firin said, "Mom, so you asked me to come back to introduce a man to me?" Mu Firin finally understood. She stood up and said, "It's not necessary. If that's the case, I'll leave first." "Hey, don't go, Firin. You're not young anymore. Even if you have some money, you should settle down. You're taking care of a child now." This person said he likes you very much. "You see, Mom, enough. I'll tell you the truth. I have a boyfriend." "What? You have a boyfriend?" Mama Mu looked at Mu Firin, trying to tell if she was telling the truth. But when she looked at her carefully, she really felt that it should be true. Mu Firin wasn't a person who liked to joke. "What? You have a boyfriend? When? Why don't I know? Who is he? Bring him home and let me see him." Mu Firin said patiently, "There's no one here. Don't ask, okay?" "Of course not. Firin, you didn't find yourself a gigolo, did you?" Mu Firin wasn't young anymore. If she found a man in his 20s, she remembered seeing a lot of older female stars on TV who would find a man 10 years younger than them. Wouldn't that be like taking care of a son? No, Firin, don't be silly. Did someone trick you into marrying a pauper? Many people liked Mu Firin just because she was a star. Moreover, many people would fall in love with Mu Firen just because she was rich and famous. The entertainment industry was chaotic, and many people wanted to be famous. Those gigolos wanted to become famous through Mu Firen, so they would definitely trick Mu Firen. Chapter 1183. Mother Mu couldn't bear to see Mu Firen being cheated by those gigolos. Firen, don't marry those gigolos. They're young, good-looking, and good at cheating. But they're all fake. They're not sincere. Besides, many of them live off you and have girlfriends outside. Women age more easily than men. If a woman is a few years older than a man, it'll be even more obvious. You'll be old and he'll still be young. Then you'll know it's not good. Mu Firen looked at her mother. What are you talking about? Mother Mu said, look at you now. It wasn't easy for you to come back to China, so you should find a good one. With your status, even if you have a child, those rich people will still rush to you. When that time comes, you'll be a public figure. If they want to bully you, they'll have to look at your influence. They'll treat you well no matter what, right? So Mu Firen sneered and stood up. So you're saying that you want me to continue to make money for our family and marry a rich man instead of gigolos? Hey, how can you call it making money for your family? This is not your home. Okay. Mu Firen stood up and said, I'm leaving. This was her home? Yes, it was her home. But what had this home brought her? Mu Firen stood up and went back. Mother Mu watched from behind. She was even more anxious, but there was nothing she could do. He could only wait for Mu Firen's younger brother to come back before he hurriedly told him about it. Mom, are you sure he's a gigolo? I'm not sure. That's why I asked you to inquire about him. What if he is? I think she doesn't want to bring him back. I guess she's afraid that we won't agree. They were also very anxious. They were really worried that Mu Firen would be cheated. Mu Firen didn't care about what her family thought. After she went back, Black Hawk said, the kindergarten opens today. Lin Shay just sent the invitation. Mu Firen said, the kindergarten opens so soon? I have to go and have a look. Mu Firen and Black Hawk arrived together. Li Mingyu also came. Gu Jingze didn't like it at first, but since Gu Jingze and Lin Shay were working together now, he decided to let Gu Jingze join in the fun for the time being. Lin Shay came by himself. He didn't intend to make the opening a big one. The few of them didn't actually say that they were shareholders. They just came to attend their children's opening ceremony. Of course, the principal knew about it, but because he was an Italian who had been invited from abroad, he was not that snobbish. He just chatted with a few people about the children's education and gave some suggestions for the kindergarten's improvement. Lin Shay listened to them one by one and noted them down for someone to do. The principal said, I think education should be targeted. We should know what the children like before we do it, so it's most important for everyone to experience it first. Lin Shay said, Director, you're right. Don't worry, just do it. If you have any suggestions, you can tell me. I'll get someone to implement them. When the principal heard this, he felt very pleased. He had finally met an investor who was not stingy. He could realize many educational methods. Mu Firen looked at Lin Shay and said, You're really... Lin Shay said, What is it? Nothing. Mu Firen said with a smile, I think you're really good at implementing now. You've done so many things without any mistakes. It seemed that many things that Lin Shay did now were managed by himself, and he was the implementer. However, they were all well organized and could do everything well. It could be said that the others' impression of Lin Shay had been subverted. As expected, Lin Shay could do everything well if he worked hard. Lin Shay still felt angry when he mentioned it. He looked at Mu Firen and said, These big bosses are all so busy. They're busy no matter what. Doesn't it mean that they have thrown all the work to me? Mu Firen said with a smile, You're doing a good job, aren't you? Lin Shay said, But don't throw everything to me. Heiying did it, Li Mingyu did it, and Gu Jingze did it too. Boo-hoo, I was pushed here because I had no choice. Li Mingyu interrupted, I said that I wanted to help, but your Gu Jingze didn't let me, right? He even agreed to let me invest in the stock market. If I didn't tell him that I didn't come here with money and that I got a piano teacher from England to teach here, he wouldn't have agreed to let me come. Lin Shay said, That's true. You guys just need to do your bit. The reason why this place was so famous was because these few big CEOs had invited so many famous teachers over, causing the kindergarten to become famous in an instant. Some parents who could come in were still saying proudly, "This kindergarten is really different. It's expensive for a reason." Yeah, didn't you see that the director is Italian? All the teachers in China are specially hired, and some foreign teachers are all foreign education experts. The piano teacher is from England, the French teacher is from France, the moral teacher is from Germany, the music teacher is from the United States, the PE teacher is also from the United States, and the activity teacher is from the Netherlands. How much does it cost to hire these teachers? Many of them can't be hired even if you have money. The piano teacher only stays here for a few months a year and will go back for the rest of the time. He is a pianist from England. That's amazing. Our children will definitely be safe here in the future. And the security guards outside seem to be very good. The security measures here are very good too. The children don't have to worry about danger here. That's right. Didn't you see the security guards? They look professional. They aren't just random security guards hired by a school. The security guards from the school are more like guards of the gate. If bad guys come, they will be the first to run. Of course, they didn't know that with Li Mingyu, Black Hawk, and Gu Jingze here, the security here was definitely comparable to Glass Palace. Of course, the three of them argued for a long time about how to arrange the security here. In the end, they decided that the people from the Gu family and Black Hawk would be the security guards separately. Li Mingyu and the other sloppy people would be left alone. Li Mingyu was very unhappy about this, but in the end, Lin Che said that if he wanted to come, he would withdraw his shares and leave. Li Mingyu slammed the table hard, and then agreed that at the opening ceremony, all the parents were excited when they heard it. But the children only thought that this place was very fun. It was very big, and there were many things to play with. The teachers were very fun too. The foreign teachers were very funny, and the teachers in China were also very positive. The children were playing with the things in the kindergarten, but Gu Xinyan was still sitting there with Yun Yun beside him. Next to them, there was another person, Li Wei. Chapter 1184. Yun Yun was very happy and kept giving things to Li Wei. Li Wei's face was red, and he kept peeking at Yun Yun. Mu Firen watched from afar and found it unbelievable. Lin Che, I think your Yin Yin has a love rival. Lin Che looked over as well. She smiled when she saw Li Wei and Yun Yun. Yin Yin had given up long ago. Yun Yun was just his sister now. However, Mu Firen didn't know. She said, "Sigh, I'm sad to see someone snatch Yun Yun away. But Yun Yun will always be my daughter. Besides, Li Wei is my godson." Really? Mu Firen smiled. But I feel sorry for Li Wei. It's great that they can play together. Lin Che nodded. Children were the most innocent. Because of their parents, they had to put on a shell that didn't belong to them. It was too tiring. She was the same. Because of her mother and father, she had to live a tough life in the Lin family. But she didn't do anything. After participating in the activities here, the few of them were ready to go back. Lin Che arrived at the office. She had been busy recently and didn't have time to read the script, but she was itching to do it after not filming for a long time. Just then, KG called her and talked about the game. The main storyline of the game is done. "Miss Lin, do you want to take a look?" Lin Che said, "Oh, of course. I'm here to take a look." A game also needed a story. Although it was a game with a high level of PvP, it still needed a story. It was a huge story system. Because there were more characters, there were more main and side quests. There would be big battles and group quests. More importantly, there would be team confrontations that they would be matched with. All of these needed a story to support them. Lin Che found someone to write the story. He found a famous web novelist to write it. The novelist said that he wouldn't say that he wrote it for now. He was afraid that the game couldn't be made. If he said that he wrote it, it would affect his reputation. Lin Che knew that many people felt the same way. They didn't have high hopes for their game. It wasn't easy to make games now. There was too much competition and there were too many games. Everyone liked the game for a while and then didn't like it anymore. After all, it wasn't as simple as it used to be. Now that there are more ways to entertain oneself, many people are more likely to fall in love with someone else. After Lin Che went over, he looked at the story. The story was very good, as expected of someone who had been writing novels for many years. There were so many side quests, but he was still able to remain calm. Everyone's story was very interesting. Every line was a good story. There was heroism, there was love, there was revenge, there was also the cruel Satan complex, there was a miserable life. It was like it was a real world. The main storyline was based on a mythological story. The battle between the gods of war was violent and exciting. It was a story of resistance that made people sigh with emotion. Lin Shaye hurriedly called the author and praised, "This story is too exciting. I like it. Hee hee, as expected of an author that I like. Keep it up. It will definitely become popular online." The author's name was Tu Han. Hearing her say that, he said, "You still read web novels?" Lin Shaye said, "That's true. Recently, I've been very obsessed with it. Ever since the filming of Nick Hang, I've been reading it. Every day, when I have nothing to do, I'll read it. I've read most of the novels on your website and the rankings." "All right. I thought you guys wouldn't read it." No, it's very interesting. I love reading it. What do you take me for? I also want to play games, read novels, and have fun. I'm also a normal person." Tu-hun only thought that she was a rich video game star who was willing to pay him 1,000 yuan for 1,000 words to write such a story. Tu-hun said, "Yeah, then you can film this story if you have nothing to do. I can totally adapt it into a movie." "Really? Of course. I'm already exhausted trying to cater to the market. Every day, I'm thinking about how to make it exciting and also make it." Lin Shaye thought about it and felt that it was a good idea. She had an idea and immediately said, "Let me see if I can film it." "Hee hee, really? Of course, I don't have any shows to film right now. I haven't seen any good scripts, so I'll try it out. Hey, can you raise the royalties a little?" Tu-hun hurriedly said, laughing. Lin Shaye said, "What did you say? I didn't hear you. I'm hanging up." The two bastards thought that he must have met a fake celebrity. How could he be like this? However, Lin Shaye felt that he was right. She immediately told Chun Lanshan about it. After seeing the way she interacted with Li Mingyu, Chun Lanshan gave up on resisting her. She looked lazy and had no fighting spirit. Lin Shaye found Chun Lanshan and said, "This is the game script. I've looked at it and it should be adapted into a movie. When the game is released, the author will also post a novel with the same name online. Then, the movie and TV series will be produced together. Isn't this better than any publicity?" Chun Lanshan was immediately interested when she heard this. The idea was good, but Chun Lanshan thought that it was still unknown whether the game could be made. It wouldn't be good to think of publicity at this time. She didn't have much hope for those university students anyway. Lin Shaye said, "I need to find someone to work on the script first." Chun Lanshan said, "You can make the decision. Anyway, Li Mingyu wouldn't say anything if she played around." Seeing that Chun Lanshan couldn't be bothered to say anything, Lin Shaye stopped looking for her and went to find someone to work on the script. This time, he asked Tu-hun if he was willing to write the script for 200 yuan more. Tu-hun rejected immediately. He said that he still had to update the website and that it was tiring enough that he didn't want to write a script. Helpless, Lin Shaye continued to look for scriptwriters. When the scriptwriters heard that they would write for Lin Shaye, the famous scriptwriters didn't reject them immediately. Because they had rejected Surprise Nick Hang previously, the drama became popular in an instant, making them feel very regretful. Now that they heard that Lin Shaye was going to work on a script again, they immediately wanted to participate. This time, Lin Shaye was going to do something quite impressive. He was going to do it in several different dimensions at once. Games, novels, movies, and maybe even animations in the future. The scriptwriters thought that Lin Shaye was really awesome, being able to do anything. Lin Shaye wasn't afraid of spending money. If she wanted to do something, she would do it to the best of her abilities. She didn't care about small details either. If it was good, she dared to hire university students. If it was good, she dared to hire web novelists. In any case, she dared to hire those that the orthodox people didn't think were reliable, as long as they had talent that she could use. Chapter 1185. After finding a scriptwriter, Lin Shaye quickly found someone to work on the script. When she announced to the reporters that Lin Shaye's studio had started working on the second TV series, the reporters were very interested. They wanted to know what they were going to do this time. When they found out that they were going to make a large-scale TV series with the same name, basically a mythical series. The first volume would be the main story, and the script would be published at the same time as the novel. They suddenly felt that this project was quite big. Lin Shaye seemed to have invested a lot into it. Lin Shaye appeared at the press conference, and the reporters immediately swarmed over. They looked at Lin Shaye and asked, "Did you make this TV series yourself? Will you act in it?" Lin Shaye said, "Yes, I will act in it. Since I spent so much money, of course I have to contribute." Everyone said, "Are you going to make such a big script this time? Why are you making such a big TV series? Is it to challenge the Panda TV Festival?" Although Lin Shaye had won the Heavenly Empress Award, she had acted in many TV series, but she didn't seem to have won any TV series awards. Lin Shaye hadn't thought about this before. She said blankly in front of the reporters, "Panda TV Festival? Really? Can I do it? I thought that it would probably be quite profitable, so I'm going to do it." Duh. She was obsessed with money. Lin Shaye announced that she was going to make a TV series. Immediately, many companies started looking for actors for her, asking her if there were any suitable roles. Some newcomers and old people pushed this way. There were people like this in the circle. They wanted to make a big fuss first and leave a role for them. They weren't like this in the past. It was just that Lin Shaye's TV series was too successful last time, making people envious. So this time, they all pounced on her, wanting to join in. But Lin Shaye naturally wouldn't use anyone she had a good relationship with. She still chose the roles very professionally. She would only consider those that fit the role. If they didn't fit, she definitely wouldn't look at who it was. On this day, the auditions for the role started. Lin Shaye was outside the company, looking at the list of actors, and suddenly saw someone. "Isn't this the one who hyped up with you, Soo-won?" Lin Shaye took a look and said, "It is indeed her." Yu Min said, "She actually came here for the audition." "What audition?" Lin Shaye said, "A small role." Yu Min said, "I wonder how your acting is." TSK, TSK. Lin Shaye sighed. "Who knows? I'm looking forward to it. The last time I asked Dongzi to investigate, she really didn't lie to us. She's been ostracized in the Drama Academy and hasn't signed with any company yet. Sai, let's go and take a look." The two of them went over to have a look. There were indeed many people queuing up for the audition. Yu Min said when they found out that you were the one who filmed it, they all rushed over. "Now you have a good reputation." "What kind of reputation is that? I only made one. I was lucky enough to make it. Nowadays, there aren't many good dramas. Most of them just do it casually to cheat some money out of it. If we have that as our brand, it's already very impressive." When Lin Shaye entered, a few people in charge of the audition hurriedly stood up to make room for the two of them. Lin Shaye sat down, and Yu Min sat beside him. Looking down, Soo-won was indeed sitting in the corner. When she saw Lin Shaye, her eyes moved. Seeing that Lin Shaye also saw her and even smiled at her, she quickly smiled gratefully. Someone had already seen Soo-won. They were all newcomers. Only Soo-won had been on the news before. Unfortunately, it was all negative news. But even so, it was enough to make people jealous. It was good enough that she could be on the news and have a name. They wanted to be on the news, but they didn't have the chance. So they looked at her with even more disdain. Soo-won still has the nerve to come to Lin Shaye for the audition. That's right. Lin Shaye didn't even say that he would kill her. How shameless. It'd be weird if she got on the audition. Soo-won looked at the people at the side and continued to read the script, not saying anything. It was useless to refute these people. But at this time, someone called Soo-won's name. Soo-won calmly stood up and looked at Lin Shaye. She looked at the person sitting in front of her. I said her name first. "Hello, everyone. I'm Soo-won." Everyone looked and was a bit shocked. Wasn't this the newcomer who fired Lin Shaye? She still dared to come. But looking at Lin Shaye, she didn't seem to have any expression. She seemed to be just looking at Soo-won, nodding and waiting. Everyone secretly guessed what would happen to this newcomer, whether or not she would be scolded. But Lin Shaye still didn't say anything. He just looked at Soo-won and said lightly, "Go ahead and perform." Soo-won looked at the script and directly started to perform. She looked ahead and said, "Moon, oh moon, do you know where my distant home is? Moon, oh moon, do you know that there are people waiting for me at home? When this war is over, I will definitely return. When that time comes, will you still be able to light the way home for me? She looked melancholy, and her eyes sparkled. Her side profile looked very good. Lin Shaye looked at the person in the camera. She was still very photogenic. She nodded and said to them, "I'll stay for now." Everyone was very surprised and looked at Lin Shaye. Lin Shaye was still calm and unruffled. He directly took the information and drew the person. Then, the person below said to Su Wan, "Okay, you can go now." Su Wan said, "Oh, are you going home to wait for news?" The person below said, "What?" "They're asking you to come over in a few days to look at the role." "Ah, then I've been chosen?" Su Wan looked at the person in front of her in surprise, and then at Lin Shaye. Lin Shaye smiled and said, "Yes, you've been chosen, but the role hasn't been decided yet. You can go back first and wait for news." "Ah, thank you. Thank you, Sister Shaye." Su Wan's face was flushed from excitement, and her hands were clenched together. Lin Shaye looked at her, but he could understand her excitement. Although it might just be a small role, for a newcomer, having a role was better than anything else. The people below were also very surprised. Su Wan was actually chosen? Lin Shaye was so generous. She actually relied on Lin Shaye to get on the news, and Lin Shaye didn't care? That Lin Shaye was simply too loving. His tolerance was so strong. Of course, it was also possible that Lin Shaye had other scenes that he hadn't done yet. Maybe he wanted to keep her and then torture her. Anyway, they looked at Su Wan unwillingly and hoped that it was the latter. It would be best if Lin Shaye tortured her to death before he would let her stay. However, Lin Shaye saw that she was quite hardworking, and the results of the audition were indeed not bad, so he chose her to stay. After all, she was trained in acting, and her acting skills were not bad. Chapter 1186. Lin Shaye didn't tell anyone that she was the one who developed the game. She didn't want the game to be affected by the entertainment industry, which would be bad for the game. She only said that she liked the story of a game and felt that it was good, so she started filming it. Everyone knew that Lin Shaye had good taste. The programs she chose were always good. No matter if it was a reality show, a movie, or a television series, they were all good productions. Therefore, they were all looking forward to this production. The production cycle of the game was originally very slow, but everyone worked overtime. Finally, it was time for the game's internal testing. It was also because the university students were so busy working on the game that they didn't even eat or drink. All they could do was work on the game. The prototype of the game was completed within a few months. With the help of the other employees from Triumph Prosperity's R&D department, the game was able to enter closed beta early. The internal testing was to give the internal testing account to some experienced gamers and let them test the game together to see the reviews, effects, shortcomings, and bugs. They also found some good gamers in the industry, and KG found a few hackers that he was familiar with to test the game. Lin Shaye asked for a closed beta account from them and entered the game interface that he had created. He was excited and sat down to try it out. In terms of client-side games, this game was very intricate. It wasn't gorgeous, but every character was meticulously crafted. Every scene and map had been researched. Not many maps were released at the beginning, so that more maps could be developed in the future. Even so, the maps were already very large. The imperial capital, Jiuhua, Immensity Sea, and Niantian were the strongholds. The entire mythical story seemed very transcendent. There were immortals in the sky, demons in the underground, and humans on the ground. Humans used guns, broadswords, submachine guns, machine guns, and many warriors with great spears. In the heavenly realm, there were arrows and magical treasures. The demons used weapons that were stained with blood. There were beautiful fairies and handsome warriors. You could make your own clothes. After the clothes were made, the effect would be very different when worn. After you put them on, you would have to combine them according to the data. They might be combined into godly weapons or trash. This was the first skill, and the second was luck. After killing someone, there was a certain chance that the equipment would drop. When people obtained these equipment, they would feel a sense of accomplishment. There were beautiful fairies and handsome warriors. You could make your own clothes. After the clothes were made, the effect would be very different. Once you put them on, you would have to synthesize them according to the data. It could be a godly weapon or trash. This was the first skill, and the second was luck. After killing someone, there was a certain chance that the equipment would drop. Lin Che went in and started to wander around the various maps. He even played with the creation of a pet. When Gu Jingzi came in, Lin Che had already played for 2 hours and still wanted more. Gu Jingzi said, "What are you looking at? You're so serious. Our game is in internal testing." "Hey, Gu Jingzi, you're so good at games. Why don't?" She turned around and smiled. "I'll give you a hand. We're in internal testing too." Gu Jingzi said, "I'm not free." Lin Che went over and said, "You don't want to? I just want to come take a look when I'm free. If not, then forget it." "It's okay. You don't want to? Come and try." Lin Che leaned over and passed him a beta card. "This card is the beta number. Anyway, you can go and take a look when you have time. Not only are there online games, but there are also mobile games. Just take it." Gu Jingzi glanced at it and was speechless. "Just leave it for now." Lin Che chuckled and went over to look at the baby. After Shi Yuan grew up, she slept less and less. It wasn't like in the past, where she would sleep for a whole day. Now, most of the time, she would play with her feet during the day. Looking at her big round eyes, she was especially cute. Lin Che said, "Aya, they all look like you. I don't want to have children anymore. Even if I did, none of them would look like me." Gu Jingzi said, "That can't be helped. Your genes aren't strong enough." He smiled and flicked her head. "And you're always passively enjoying yourself. That's even less powerful. You should be on top more in the future, okay?" You. Lin Che harumphed. Gu Jingzi hugged her and said, "Don't have children anymore." "Ah." Gu Jingzi kissed her. "We have a son and a daughter. It's enough for us." Giving birth was so scary. He really didn't want her to go through it again. "Why? Are you scared after seeing me give birth?" Lin Che looked at him and asked. Gu Jingzi pressed his forehead against hers and said slowly, "Yes, I can't bear to. I can't bear to anymore. Don't give birth anymore. Why don't you give birth?" Lin Che looked up at him and pursed her lips into a smile. "Okay, I won't. I'll live with you." "Okay, when the children grow up, we'll move to a place near the sea. We'll gather seafood in the morning and go for a walk at night. Okay, then we won't care about these things anymore. If you're tired, I'll push you out in the wheelchair. We can play games together when we're not tired. Forget about your skills." "What's wrong with my skills?" "Seriously, you might have Parkinson's disease by then. You'll be worse than me. Hey, you eat so much junk food. You'll be the one who'll be sick." "Huh, that might not be true. You're so busy that you overuse your brain. Maybe you'll have dementia by then." Okay. I'll watch you play games when I'm dementia." Okay. I'll open an account for you. Then you'll watch your name beat the other party to death over and over again." "That's good. I'm already dementia. I won't be angered to death by you then." Lin Che glared at him. He couldn't belittle him like that. Didn't they say that they would stay together until their hair turned white? Why did it change? Just then, Qin Hao came in to get something. Lin Che quickly said, Assistant Qin, you came at the right time. You played a part in the birth of this game." "Heh, thank you." Assistant Qin said, "Not at all. Madam, this is what I should do." Lin Che said, "I have a closed beta account here. You can download it and play when you're free. If you have any comments, you can tell me." Qin Hao quickly took it. Okay. I'll definitely go and take a look, madam." Lin Che chuckled and said, "Look, Assistant Qin is the best." Qin Hao looked at Gu Jingzi and said, "Do we have to support Madam's project? I think this is more important. As for the internal testing, we still have to take a good look at it. Why don't you give me a few days to test it out? It can be considered as helping Madam to see the results." Chapter 1187. Qin Hao thought, "I haven't had a vacation for a year. I can take it that if it was someone else, it probably wouldn't work, but since it was Lin Che, Gu Jingzi would probably..." Gu Jingzi raised his eyebrows. "Okay, sure." "Oh yeah," Qin Hao shouted in his heart, but Gu Jingzi continued, 5 days. "Really? 5 days? Thank you, President Gu." Qin Hao was almost moved to tears. "Okay, I'll see your beta report in 5 days. Like a bolt from the blue, Qin Hao was stunned when he heard this. He looked at Gu Jingzi in disbelief. "Beta report? Yeah, that's right, can I?" No. Didn't you say that Madam's business is important? Since it's so important, you have to do it seriously. Qin Hao really wanted to cry this time. He felt that this was Gu Jing's revenge on him for playing smart. Sure enough, he couldn't play smart in front of President Gu. Lin Che watched from the side as Qin Hao left in tears. He asked curiously, "Why did Assistant Qin leave in tears?" Gu Jing's said, "Oh, he was very excited to get the beta account." Ah, he was so excited that he cried. Assistant Qin is such a nice person. Actually, the beta account wasn't that good. I should have given him a VIP account. Gu Jing's smiled and put his arm around Lin Che. The beta report came out very quickly. Everyone found some bugs and imbalances, which were common problems in games. KG and the others made use of the time to fix it and continue with the beta. After the beta was completed and the data was released, Victory Glory held an internal meeting to work on the follow-up of the game. Ever since Chan Lanshan's interest waned and she couldn't be bothered to manage Lin Che's projects, Lin Che had never looked for her again. He didn't need to do any promotional activities for the time being either. As for the small promotions, Lin Che had his own people handle them. Lin Che also invited Li Mingyu to the meeting. Li Mingyu was very interested. He was also very surprised that she finished it so quickly. Chun Lanshan prepared for the meeting, and they walked to the meeting room together. "Manager Chun, how's the game? It's done so quickly." "I'm not sure. Miss Lin didn't look for me afterward." "Ah, I don't think he did much in such a short time. It's been a long time. More than half a year." "Yeah, but don't normal games take a long time to complete? Some of them have been around for a long time. Some of these online games have only been around for a short while. What era are we in now? Money is everything. As long as you have enough money, you can do anything very quickly. In any case, it's very simple." Chun Lanshan said, "All right, we'll know soon enough." In any case, Li Mingyu came for Lin Che. It seemed that no matter what Lin Che did, Li Mingyu wouldn't care. In the conference room, Li Mingyu looked at Lin Che and said, "It's done so quickly. You sure are anxious." Lin Che said, "It's mainly because everyone is looking forward to the game's release. We've been working so hard that we can finally rest for a few days." Li Mingyu said, "All right, you're so self-aware." Lin Che said, "Yeah, I know it's a little fast, but everyone really wants to finish it quickly, so they consciously work overtime." "All right, it's not especially fast," Li Mingyu said. Lin Che said, "Is that so? They all say it's too fast. I don't think it's that fast either. It's only the beta stage. Could it be that other projects aren't this fast? It's my first time doing it, so I don't know much about it." "How could that be? I've always been this fast when it comes to projects. I'm just curious how you force them." "Forced? Why do you have to force them? They're very self-aware." "Is that so?" Li Mingyu revealed a look of surprise because of this. Lin Che suddenly thought of something and looked at Li Mingyu. "How do you usually get people to finish project faster?" "I get people to stand guard outside. No one is allowed to leave until it's done." Lin Che said, "Don't they protest? Don't they complain to the Trade and Industry Bureau?" "That depends on whether they can walk out the door." "Ugh, how stubborn. You're so inhumane." Lin Che poked his head and said, "We're different. We only gathered together because of our interests. It's not like we're going to work unwillingly." She looked at KG and the others and said, "Don't underestimate them just because they're young. They're very motivated and ambitious. They want to do something, so they themselves want to work overtime. It's fine even if they don't eat, drink, or go to play." Li Mingyu immediately understood. That's right. They're still students anyway. They don't have homes, kids, or wives. They don't need to think about going home. TSK, TSK. No wonder you like to use these newbies. It looks like they're quite useful. Duh. She didn't like to use university students because of this. She just felt that they were very creative. Lin Che looked at Li Mingyu and couldn't be bothered to say anything else. Seeing that Chun Lanshan and the others had arrived with many project managers and internal employees of Victory Prosperity, they knew that the meeting was about to begin. Everyone was also very curious. They wanted to know how the game that Li Mingyu had given Lin Che full responsibility for was going. Initially, they were very curious as to why Li Mingyu had given Lin Che such a hard time. However, recently, They saw Lin Che standing beside Li Mingyu. Lin Che was the kind of person that they saw on television and thought was pretty and smart, but definitely not that specific. However, when they saw her in real life, they only felt that she was beautiful, pretty, exquisite, and absolutely dazzling. Such a beautiful woman, of course, would make a man go through fire and water for her wishes. Therefore, some people also understood why. They sat down in admiration and admired Lin Che's beautiful figure. Very few people paid attention to anything else. Everyone was present. Li Mingyu sat in the middle. All right, we can begin. Although Li Mingyu was a crazy person, he was definitely not sloppy. He was always very fast. Without any pompous words, he immediately slammed the table and signaled for the start. Lin Che was also this kind of person, so he nodded and let KG begin. Crooked Neck was the host. Because KG didn't like to talk, Crooked Neck did everything. This was the first time Crooked Neck was facing so many high-end people, so he was a little nervous. He adjusted his collar before saying, "Then, I'll cut to the chase. Everyone can take a look at our game." The screen turned on. The game's boot screen came into view. Light. Search for the light that belongs to you and me. Let the sharp sword represent the language that I speak. In battle, your death is my life. The final king is you, me, or the heavens. After a series of passionate words, the sharp sword that appeared seemed to have rushed out of the screen, shocking everyone. Chapter 1188. Then, the battle scene appeared. All the characters appeared one by one. There were people with guns, knives, feather fans, heavy weapons, and huge guns. All kinds of images appeared one after another along with the surging music. Next to them were the short introductions of the characters, dazzling the audience. After that, a few maps appeared at the same time. Then, the match battle appeared on the screen. After a series of exciting scenes, it was time for the internal testing to officially begin. Crooked Neck started to introduce the game. What you are seeing is the introduction of our game. Light tells the story of us using black eyes to find the light. The characters are neither ancient nor modern, nor are they of any race. Crooked Neck wasn't as nervous when he introduced the game. Although the people below him were somewhat old-fashioned, they were still managers and directors after all. No matter what, they still had some knowledge. After seeing these images, they definitely didn't think that Li Mingyu was doing this to make a beauty smile. This was definitely the result of careful production. Moreover, the promotion was very attractive. If they had the ability to advertise it, they would definitely be able to earn money. This was because many games nowadays could earn a quick buck if they were released. However, it was unknown if they would become popular. Most games would not become popular. Perhaps more people would enter the game, but the number of gangsters would decrease. Everyone would feel that they had earned money, so they would no longer care about it. Therefore, this opening seemed to be very attractive. However, whether it can make people stay or not depended on the content. For example, those popular FPS games might not have the best graphics, but because of the good content, they became super active games. Chen Lanshan listened to Crooked Neck's speech. At first, she was leaning against the chair lazily. Then, she raised her head and carefully flipped through the information on the table. She looked at it carefully. For a moment, her heart was in turmoil. She didn't expect a few university students and Lin Che to be able to produce so many things, especially in such a short period of time. Did they really make these and not plagiarize? Did they make these? Didn't they find someone else to do it? She knew that the company's people had helped. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to produce so many things. However, they should have done the details themselves. The people who helped were only doing some outside work. Lin Che sat there and watched calmly. The smile on his face showed that he was very confident. As Chen Lanshan watched, she couldn't help but wonder if it really was her. Had she underestimated Lin Che? For a moment, she regretted that she didn't follow up on it, so she didn't participate in it personally. She didn't know what process they went through to make this happen. Crooked Neck finished speaking in one breath. He had already spoken for an hour. His mouth was dry. He looked at everyone and felt that the way they listened to him made him feel a sense of accomplishment. Not so long ago, they had never imagined that the game they made would be watched by the higher-ups of such a large company who had been earning millions for many years. Everyone started a heated discussion. He carefully recounted what he had just heard. This is not bad. Yeah, just looking at it makes me want to play. The character design is really good. It's beautiful and exquisite. Also, the perspective can be changed. Not bad. You can play from any perspective. However, it's still easier to play from a third-person perspective. Although first-person perspective is great, it's easy to have blind spots when fighting. I like the confrontations in this game. It's so exciting. It's also very suspenseful. There won't be any thoughts of crushing people just because they have good equipment. Li Mingyu looked at him and turned his head to look at Lin Che deeply. Lin Che said, "How is it?" "Not bad, not bad. Give me a closed beta account one day. It'll be open beta soon. You can play with it when it's open beta. The closed beta accounts will be taken back in the future." "That won't do. I want to play now. Hurry up." Lin Che said, "We released 1,000 closed beta accounts, and they've all been used up." "Is that so? Looks like there are quite a lot of people participating in the closed beta." Crooked Neck heard this and said hurriedly, "Of course, Director Lee. You don't know how many people are fighting for it, especially the veterans." Once the news spread in the circle, many people knew about it and wanted to try it out. Crooked Neck was also very excited. This game had been recognized by many people, and it gave them a sense of accomplishment. Li Mingyu said, "Really?" Lin Che said, "Of course. It doesn't matter who did it." Li Mingyu smiled and looked at him. Yes. You're the biggest contributor." Lin Che was just joking. Hearing Li Mingyu's support, he quickly said, "I'm just joking. Actually, I'm not that important. Everyone is busy." Crooked Neck said, "How can that be, Sister Che? You were the one who came up with the idea. We just summarized it and implemented it. This is your work anyway." "My idea was very crude. You guys did it well," Lin Che said. Li Mingyu smiled and said, "All right, everyone has a prize. Let's go celebrate tonight. Thank you all for your hard work." Hearing that it was a celebration, everyone became happy again. They'd been too tired recently. Now that the internal meeting was over and everyone was satisfied, they could finally relax. However, they only had one day to rest. After the open beta, they would be even busier. At night, the celebration was held at the Century Building. This place was very high-end. It was the first time for the university students. Crooked Neck came in and said, TSK, this place is so rich." Lin Che said, "It's okay. Li Mingyu is paying. You can eat whatever you want. This guy is always worried about not having enough money to spend. You don't have to save money for him." Crooked Neck said, "Really? I won't stand on ceremony then." Hey. How can you talk about the boss like that?" Li Mingyu had already arrived. Lin Che said, "Isn't that the case? I'm treating you. It doesn't match your status to go to such a low-class place." Li Mingyu raised his eyebrows and teased. Lin Che was a fool to believe him. She rolled her eyes and said, "Isn't this a treat for everyone?" Li Mingyu smiled. "Of course." However, he looked at Lin Che and was very happy. His gaze deepened. This woman was really no wonder Gu Jingze liked her so much. She was a treasure. He didn't know what was going on in her head, but she always surprised him. It was as if she had ideas that couldn't be dug out. Initially, he just wanted to do it. He didn't care about how the game would turn out in the end. However, Lin Che just had to make him shocked. Perhaps it was because of her unconventional thinking that the game could succeed. Chapter 1189. Lin Che went in and sat with KG and the others. She asked, "Is the closed beta really good?" "Yeah," Crooked Neck said. "A lot of people like it. In the beginning, we were the ones begging them to help us with a closed beta test. Later on, they were the ones who could put on airs just because they had a closed beta number, who can go out and show off just because they have a closed beta number. Don't you think it's great?" "Yeah, if I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have just randomly given people a closed beta number." Crooked Neck said, "Anyway, the closed beta is coming to an end soon. I'm looking forward to the open beta." Everyone was rubbing their fists and rubbing their palms in anticipation of doing something big. But KG remained silent as he sat there and looked at Lin Che in front of him. Li Mingyu saw KG's gaze from afar and thought to himself, "Hey, how dare he stare at Lin Che like that in front of me?" Li Mingyu sat between KG and Lin Che. "Hey, if you help me make a lot of money this time, I'll give you a present, okay?" Li Mingyu said. Lin Che was speechless. "What present? What present do you like?" "Expensive," Lin Che said directly. Li Mingyu said, then I'll have to give it to you." Lin Che said in disdain, "Get lost." Li Mingyu said, "Am I wrong? Don't you know that I'm worth tens of billions? I'm the most expensive person in my family." "Get lost." Lin Che pushed Li Mingyu away. Li Mingyu chuckled and shamelessly sat on the side. He looked at KG, who had already lowered his head to drink some water. He snorted. Even if Lin Che was already Gu Jing's, he wouldn't allow anyone else to covet him, especially when they were coveting him right in front of him. Li Mingyu glanced at KG and sat down without leaving. He sat there the whole time, not giving KG a chance to say a word to Lin Che. The banquet was still ongoing. Lin Che went out, and Li Mingyu followed him out. Lin Che was puzzled. Why did this person keep following him today? "Hey, are you born in the year of the dog?" Lin Che said. Li Mingyu said, "No, I'm a snake." "Then why are you always following me? Only dogs will always follow people. Isn't it because you're alone? I'm worried about your safety. You're such a careless person. Can't you tell good from bad?" Lin Che said, "What? What do you mean by good or bad?" "I saw you take it, KG. He kept staring at you." TSK. Li Mingyu said directly. Lin Che said in surprise, "What did you say?" "KG, are you kidding me?" "It was simply inexplicable." Li Mingyu said, "You didn't see it. She kept staring at you. She definitely likes you." "Huh, that's just how he is. Once you get to know him, you'll know that he likes to stare at someone when he's not talking. You're really something. Get out of the way. Don't be so paranoid here. Don't think that everyone is as perverted as you." "Yeah, okay. I'm the pervert, okay?" Li Mingyu really wanted to pry open this woman's head. When she truly trusted someone, it was true trust. It was a trust that couldn't be pried open no matter what. On the other side, two people were also coming in. They immediately saw Lin Che walking in front, with Li Mingyu still chasing after him, looking like a shadow. "That's not Lin Che." The one who spoke was Xue Mingqi's mother, Gu Xian. Xue Mingqi glanced at her. "Yeah, it is." Gu Xian said, "Why is there a man following behind her?" "Huh." Xue Mingqi snorted. "A vixen? No matter how many men follow behind her, she won't be surprised." Really? Why did Jingzi fall for such a person?" "All right, Mom, let's go." "Hey, what's that at the door? What game celebration? What's Lin Che doing?" Xue Mingqi said, "I think she's working on a TV series recently. It's a game script." "Yeah, the Gu family has such an ignorant person." "How much money can a TV series earn? Seriously, if this gets out, wouldn't it be embarrassing?" Ever since Xue Mingqi lost at the Gu family's banquet, she had been following her family into business. It was impossible to separate from the Gu family. But now, the Xue family was putting more effort into their business. No matter what, Gu Jingzi dared to be so unyielding because he had money and power. If the Xue family could become the biggest one day, no one in the Gu family would dare to say anything about the Xue family. So Xue Mingqi put all her effort into the family business, thinking that she could use her power to slap Lin Che in the face. Indeed, Xue Mingqi didn't care about filming a TV series. Although it looked famous, compared to the Gu family business, it didn't make much money. Xue Mingqi said, "All right, let's go." But she remembered the name of the game. Light? She had never heard of it. On the other side, Crooked Neck watched as Li Mingyu followed Lin Che out, then looked at KG. KG narrowed his eyes, looking indifferent. Crooked Neck hurried over. "Hey, boss, what are you looking at?" KG said, "Eating." But how could Crooked Neck not know what KG was thinking? He chuckled and said, "Have you taken fancy to Sister Che?" KG looked at Crooked Neck. Crooked Neck thought that KG was a once-in-a-thousand-years man. He was actually interested in a woman. Of course he was excited. Crooked Neck said, "Go ahead and chase her then. What are you waiting for?" "Shut up," KG said as he looked at Lee Mingyu. Crooked Neck looked at that gaze and understood. "Oh, you're saying that there's a strong competitor over there?" Sigh. Crooked Neck sighed. "You're really unlucky. You haven't bloomed for so many years, and now you've blossomed so big. You actually fell for Lin Che. She must have a lot of people who like her. This Lee Mingyu, too, must be a strong competitor. But you don't have to worry too much. I think Sister Che doesn't like him at all. Look at how he's following her around, and Sister Che doesn't even look at him. I can tell that Sister Che likes people with inner qualities." KG said, "All right, you can shut up now. Sai, you can test her. For example, you can give her something. I think Sister Che has been pretty close to you recently. I don't think she hates you. Although they were close because of their work relationship, they were still pretty close." But KG had already stood up, looking as if he didn't want to know. "Hey, KG, you really don't want to know?" Crooked Neck said hurriedly. KG turned his head and paused for a moment before turning back to say, "Tell me, what do you want to give her?" Crooked Neck took a look. Their boss was really tempted. Otherwise, with how lazy KG was, he wouldn't even bother to know what a gift was, let alone a gift. Crooked Neck said hurriedly, "Sister Che is a big star after all. She must have everything she wants. We don't want things that cost money. Let's set up a surprise." "Surprise?" KG frowned. Chapter 1190. Very soon, the game started its open beta. The open beta started developing on the internet under the name Radiance. At the same time, the TV series of the same name also held a press conference and decided on the male lead. The male lead wasn't decided on someone from Lin Che's company because there weren't many suitable people. Shui Yang had already turned to movies and hadn't acted in a TV series for a long time. This TV series didn't want him to come back. The rest of the people in the company were too young, and there wasn't anyone suitable. Thus, the male lead was a popular actor from another company called Han Yixing. He was very handsome and looked a little oriental. His slender phoenix eyes were very suitable for the male lead in the TV series. He was stiff, cold, and had a hint of introversion and evil. Star Brilliance had taken the initiative to recommend him. They didn't expect Lin Che to use him. Star Brilliance was very happy and thanked Lin Che for it. Lin Che didn't say that he only felt that the image was suitable for the TV series. It was as if he had sold them a favor and accepted their gratitude. Yu Minmin said to Lin Che, "You're really cunning now. You're not as easy to trick as before." Lin Che said, "That's true." Yu Minmin said, "It must be because of your great god sect. Go, go, go." Lin Che giggled. He felt that it was true. He had learned too much from Gu Jingze. At the same time, the author posted the novel on the internet. The author quickly realized that the novel was quite good. Once the game was released, Lin Che agreed to promote the novel on the website. He also agreed to promote the movie and television dramas on the website. The website immediately gave a lot of recommendations, and the novel immediately became popular. Idiot couldn't stand it anymore, so he changed his original name and posted it. At that moment, everyone found out that this game was written by Idiot Bastard. Idiot Bastard was a famous web novelist. The website started to strongly recommend it, and the novel became even more popular. Idiot Bastard was prepared to end his previous novel as soon as possible. He didn't want to continue the novel anymore. He just wanted to write a longer story. Lin Che was still planning the script when Crooked Neck suddenly called. "Sister Che, aren't you going to log in and take a look?" Lin Che said, "I've never logged on my account." "Then go and take a look when you're free. Our open beta is different from the closed beta. Go and see how many people are online and how popular it is." "Huh." Lin Che thought for a moment, then turned on the computer to take a look. As soon as he opened it, he found that the area was full and he had to wait in line. He waited for more than 10 minutes before entering the game. In the game, the fiery crowd really made Lin Che feel a little excited. However, before they could enter, they saw someone setting off fireworks in the middle of the square. There were a lot of people at the center of the city plaza. There were a lot of people buying and selling equipment, goods, and resources here, so there were a lot of people coming and going. As soon as Lin Che walked over, he saw the big word Che written on the fireworks. What is this? Before Lin Che could react, he received a message from Crooked Neck on his account. Sis Che, this is for you. Ah, thank you. So it was a gift from them. Lin Che chuckled and said, That's very thoughtful of you. Everyone has worked hard. You don't have to surprise me. Thank you so much. Crooked Neck, tilting her head, she said to KG, Looks like this won't do. Sister Che looks pretty smart, but I didn't expect her to be so dumb. We still need to be more surprised. KG looked at him, asking with his eyes what else to do. He crooked his neck and said, Looks like I'll have to go hard. Lin Che didn't think much of it. Everyone respected her and just wanted to give her a gift. In the afternoon, Han Yisheng came over to get close to Lin Che. Lin Che, you have good taste. This game looks pretty good. I just want to play it, and it's really fun. Once the game becomes popular, the TV series won't be too bad either. Lin Che said, Really? Han Yisheng said, I saw the promotional photos. They're not bad either. He came over to Lin Che's side and looked at Lin Che with a leisurely gaze. Lin Che was only focused on the script and definitely didn't notice. Yu Minmin, on the other hand, saw this scene the moment she came in. She chuckled and walked over. Yisheng, why are you here? Han Yisheng hurriedly stood up. Hello, Sister Yu. I'm talking to Lin Che about the problem with this film. Oh, is that so? You're so professional. Yeah, I think there are some things about this film that need to be discussed. Well, it's almost 6 now. Why don't we go for dinner? Lin Che, let's talk while we eat. Lin Che looked up and smiled. Oh, it's okay. I'm going back to my hotel room. I still have a script to read. Han Yisheng said, Why don't you go back to your room and eat? I'll order takeout. We can read the script while we eat. Lin Che smiled and said, It's really okay. I'm a bit of a picky eater, so I probably won't be able to eat with you. All right, I'm leaving. Lin Che wasn't used to eating with strangers, so he refused. He got up and left. Yu Minmin hurriedly followed behind him. Sigh. Seriously, this Han Yisheng dares to flirt with anyone. But he doesn't know who your husband is. Otherwise, he would have been scared out of his wits. Lin Che looked at Yu Minmin with a strange expression. What? Flirt with what? Yu Minmin blinked. Flirting with girls. Can't you tell? Lin Che said no. Yu Minmin sighed. You're really something. He invited you to dinner, and you rejected him too. Lin Che said, That's because I want to eat spicy soup. I really don't want to eat with him. Yu Minmin was speechless. Lin Che was really silly when it came to this. Yu Minmin said, Then you go look for spicy soup first. I'll go over and take a look. It's best if I can get someone to warn Han Yisheng. Otherwise, with how fickle he is, he won't be able to flirt with other girls on set. Okay. After Lin Che finished speaking, he walked out. Yu Minmin didn't expect that Han Yisheng had already followed him out. He naturally wanted to flirt with Lin Che. Not to mention anything else. With her current influence and fame, if he could be with her, then his fame would definitely reach a new height, wouldn't it? However, he was really frustrated that he hadn't been able to ask her out for dinner just now. The moment he came out, he immediately said, Lin Che, what do you want to eat? I'll buy it and send it over to you, okay? No, thank you, Lin Che said hurriedly as he turned around and saw that he had chased after him. Han Yisheng wanted to say something, so he followed behind her. Just as he was about to reach out to grab her by the shoulder, someone unexpectedly grabbed him from behind. Han Yisheng fell to the ground with a thud. Lin Che turned around and exclaimed, King, what are you doing? Chapter 1191. KG had slammed Han Yisheng onto the ground. That was because Han Yisheng was really too weak. Although he acted as a cool and elegant character on TV, he was extremely weak in real life. Lying on the ground, he hadn't woken up for a while, and the pain was unbearable. In an instant, he saw KG. This young man was young and vigorous, but not so vigorous. He gave off a cold and stubborn feeling as he stood there looking down at Han Yisheng. He harumphed disdainfully. Han Yisheng had been popular for 2 years and had always been popular. Why had he ever been looked down upon like this? Everyone who saw him would shout, Yisheng, Yisheng, I want to bear your children. And now, he was being looked down upon. You actually dare to hit me. Han Yixing tried to get up, but couldn't. Because his arm was in too much pain, he grimaced in pain. Looking at the security guards behind him, he shouted, "Men, arrest this man." With Han Yixing's shout, a lot of people rushed over. Lin Che quickly said, "Stop it. It's all a misunderstanding." Han Yixing looked at KG. "What misunderstanding? This man hit me." Lin Che protected KG. "He's someone I know." KG didn't let them have a peace of mind as he said from behind, "I didn't hit anyone." Han Yixing said, "You hit me." "But I didn't hit anyone," KG said. Wasn't he implying that Han Yixing wasn't human? Han Yixing looked at Lin Che. "What do you mean? Just because he's someone you know, you can hit him?" KG put his hands in his pockets coldly, looking as though he didn't care. Lin Che looked at Han Yixing. He was definitely protective of him. "I also believe that KG wouldn't hit anyone for no reason." "KG, why did you hit him?" KG said, "He was being perverted just now." Han Yixing's expression changed. Everyone couldn't help but be surprised. But Lin Che understood. He turned to look at Han Yixing and thought about what Yuminmin had said. Even if it wasn't as serious as being perverted, it probably wasn't a bad thing. Of course, Han Yixing wouldn't admit it. "Impossible, you're wrong. There's no such thing. You're making things up." KG snorted. "You've done it, but you don't dare to admit it?" Lin Che said, "All right, Han Yixing, I believe in KG, but I don't want to say anything. Just apologize and leave." Han Yixing's expression changed when he heard this. She actually asked him to apologize. Not only was he the male lead of this drama, he was also a popular young actor. "Okay? Impossible, you actually believe him?" "Lin Che, is your brain damaged?" He's my man, so of course I trust him," Lin Che said. I won't apologize." "Lin Che, did you invite me here just to let me be humiliated? Let me tell you, that's impossible." "How could I be humiliating you? If you apologize, everything will be fine." "This is not humiliating at all. It's impossible for me to apologize. Moreover, I wanted to apologize. It's clearly his fault." Han Yixing didn't believe it. Who was this man? How could Lin Che force her to apologize because of him? Lin Che said, "It's also impossible for him to apologize." Han Yixing narrowed her eyes. Fine. If you continue like this, we can't work together anymore. I'll leave the production team immediately. I won't stay in a production team that doesn't respect people." Lin Che said, "Up to you. But I will definitely protect my man. If you want to leave, you can leave by yourself." Everyone looked at her, and their expressions turned ugly. Was Lin Che serious? Who was this man? Why did he want Han Yixing to leave the production team because of him? KG didn't say a word. Someone hurried over to persuade him. "Sister Che, forget it. It's just a misunderstanding." "That's right. At a time like this, the bigger picture is more important." However, Lin Che had her own principles. She looked at everyone and said, "Don't worry. It's just like what he said, a good production crew is a good one. If someone like him were to stay, I would only feel that this production crew is terrible. So if he apologizes, then it's fine. If he knows his mistakes and can change, I will accept it. But if he doesn't apologize and even threatens to leave the production crew, then it's better for him to leave." Lin Che's gaze was cold as she looked ahead. She looked resolute and didn't hesitate at all. Han Yixing had never thought that Lin Che would really abandon him for an ordinary person. Even when he said that he wanted to leave the production team, it was useless. Now that things had come to this, he didn't have the face to stay any longer. In a fit of anger, he walked out. Everyone was speechless. They looked at Lin Che and thought, is she really going to abandon Han Yixing? But Lin Che said, "All right, that's it." At this moment, KG looked at Lin Che and said, "I'm sorry. If it's because of me, I apologize." Lin Che hurriedly said, "How could it be because of you without KG?" But KG said, "All right, then this is for you." Lin Che looked dumbfounded as she watched KG take something out from behind. A box that arose. Fuck, what was that? A rose folded out of paper? Lin Che said, "You." KG just stared at her for a moment, put the box in front of her, and walked away. The sharp-eyed people around them naturally saw what it was. Aya, that person. Is he wooing Lin Che? Sister Che is so protective. Could he be her boyfriend? An outsider? Yeah, but he looks so young. Is he dating a younger man? But he's still quite handsome. Although he's not particularly outstanding, he looks so classy. Lin Shay ignored them and looked down at the box of roses. No way. What did he mean by that? Lin Shay didn't dare to keep the roses and left them in the office. However, the news soon reached Gu Jing's ears. Sir, I just received news that Madam received a box of roses today. Gu Jingza looked up and asked, who sent it? That hacker called KG. Gu Jingza narrowed his eyes and said mildly, all right, I got it. Then now, it's fine. He's just a young man who doesn't know. All right, you can go. Qin Hao saw this and thought to himself, CEO Gu has become more generous recently. He's not angry at all. How tolerant. The door closed. Gu Jingza looked ahead, picked up his phone, and called Lin Shay. What are you doing? Lin Shay said, I'm about to go back. What about you? Oh, I'll go and pick you up. Okay, I'm at the entrance of the office. Wait for me. After saying, wait for me, he hung up. Lin Shay stood at the entrance and waited for a long time, but no one came. At this moment, she saw Dongzi walking over and saying, Miss, Sir just called me and asked us to drive you to a place first. What? Where are they going? Why was he acting so mysterious? Chapter 1192. As he drove to the side, he saw a helicopter flying down from the sky. Lin Shay was still in a daze when the helicopter descended. Under the strong wind, the helicopter landed on the lawn. Lin Shay blinked, but saw that Dongzi and the others had already left quietly. The helicopter came to a stop. The pilot was wearing a beautiful blue uniform and a flying hat. His huge eyes covered half of his face, and his black sunglasses made his stiff face look even more handsome. Oh my, who is this that Who was this that wasn't this Gu Jingza? Lin Shay looked at him in surprise. She covered her mouth and exclaimed, Gu Jingza. Gu Jingza was tall to begin with. Now that he was wearing a uniform with a belt, his upper body was tucked in, and his lower body was straight. His legs looked very long. Gu Jingza smiled and took off his helmet. He shook his head handsomely and said to her, Let's go. I'll take you out to play. Lin Shay said, You're flying this to take me out? Of course. But Lin Shay looked at the huge helicopter in surprise. You know how to fly a helicopter? I've had my license for 12 years. A pilot's license? Lin Shay really didn't know. She had never seen him fly one. He tilted his head. Don't you want to go up and have a look? Would anyone still have the heart to reject that sexy and seductive pose? Lin Shay immediately skipped and ran over. Okay. You can fly a plane. Hee. I've never seen you fly one before. Gu Jingza smiled. He had already turned around and boarded the helicopter. Then he pulled her up. She jumped into the passenger seat. Gu Jingza turned his head and put on the helmet for her. He also attentively fastened the seatbelt. After checking, he looked at her and smiled. Don't be afraid. We can't fly very high. Yeah, I'm not afraid. Lin Shay looked at Gu Jingza. Although she had never seen him fly a plane, she believed that he could do everything well. However, he knew too many things. It was really surprising. Lin Shay felt that he was always able to bring him so many surprises that he would never be able to anticipate them. Gu Jingza said, Okay, let's take off then. With a roar, the plane took off. His voice was very loud, so he had to communicate with her through the headset in his helmet. He looked in front of him. The plane flew up and flew past the village in front of him. Lin Shay felt nervous and excited at the same time. He immediately cried out, Wah. After flying, she turned her head to look at Gu Jingza. His gloves were holding the controller in front of him. Lin Shay couldn't understand those complicated buttons, but he looked very confident. He seemed to be very confident in everything he did. Even though he was driving a plane, it was like he was driving on flat ground. It was no different from driving on flat ground. His side profile was really good to look at. Anyone who looked at him would be mesmerized, especially his serious expression. His squinted eyes looked very deep under the sunglasses. Lin Shay was almost mesmerized by it. Only then did they see that the helicopter had landed on a hill. There was a helipad here, and after getting off, the plane landed stably. Lin Shay said in surprise, Why is there such a thing here? Gu Jingza said, We built a few helipads here. It's simple anyway, so we just made them the simplest helipad. Okay, do many people fly helicopters? No, this is used by the Goo family for transportation. Oh, I see. He jumped down and pulled Lin Che with him. They looked down the hill. It shouldn't be far from B City, but they couldn't see the tall buildings there. They could only see the misty area in the distance. The sun was about to set, and there was a halo on the horizon. It looked so beautiful. Lin Che said, "Wow, it's so beautiful here." Gu Jingze looked at her and smiled. Then, Lin Che looked at Gu Jingze too. "You look good in this too, hee hee." "Really?" Gu Jingze said. Lin Che said, "Of course. You're tall, and you look so handsome when you fly a plane." Gu Jingze held her hand. After looking at it for a while, he pulled her back inside. "Do you want to learn?" Gu Jingze asked. I'm sure I can't learn it," Lin Che said. Gu Jingze said, "Why not? Try it." Lin Che was pulled over. Looking at the exquisite equipment, she didn't think she could do it. Gu Jingze smiled and let her sit down. He said, "Press here first, then that." "Okay." Lin Che listened carefully. She felt Gu Jingze's hands wrap around her from behind. His aura also gently surrounded her from behind. He said to her calmly, "Pull this. Pull it up and it'll take off." Lin Che was stunned. She felt the cloth rubbing against her ears. His voice was like the sound of nature. He blew on her earlobes, making her face flush red. She was so distracted that she could no longer remember what he had just said. All she knew was that he was hugging her from behind, his strong hands holding her hands as he taught her how to do it step by step. Gradually, he leaned even closer to her. While she was still trying to open her eyes, his eyes were already right in front of hers, looking at her. He said, "Like this." She said in a daze, You. Gu Jingze said, "Why are you blushing?" How could she not blush? Seeing how close he was to her and how seductive his gaze was, she lost the strength to judge. She only felt that the moment she moved, that her body was already completely embraced by him. He said, "Don't move." Lin Che scanned his body. At this moment, she really had a strong thought. Strip him. Strip him naked. Such beautiful clothes were meant to be stripped naked. She said, "Gu Jingze, I think." "Think what?" Gu Jingze's voice was soft. Lin Che's hands had already unknowingly climbed up. "I think it's a little hot, right?" "Uh-huh." He was still looking at her. She said, "What material is this shirt made of? Don't you think it's hot?" "Uh-huh." He was still looking down at her hands. Slowly, he leaned closer and whispered in her ear, "It's hot. If you keep moving, it'll get hotter." "Oh my God!" Lin Che almost screamed. Wasn't this man making her want to commit a crime by talking like this at a time like this? But here, Lin Che looked around. There was indeed no one in Zhou Mountain, but she was still shy. However, Gu Jingze didn't give her the chance to be shy. Chapter 1193. Just as she was about to move, he had already pulled her into his arms. Lin Che couldn't control herself anymore. Her hands were already tearing into his clothes. And Gu Jingze didn't hesitate either. He pressed her down onto the seat. Ouch. The helicopter was shaking. She had never tried it before, but his clothes really made people want to peel them off. When everything was settled, Gu Jingze gently covered her body with his clothes. The sun had already set, and all that could be seen was a dusky color. Gu Jingze said, "Can you still get up?" Lin Che nodded. She felt like her body was going to fall apart. She was too excited just now. So Gu Jingze worked very hard for a moment. She thought that it was lucky that Gu Jingze was busy and didn't want to do this often. Otherwise, if he always appeared so sexy, it would be really easy to overindulge. It wasn't good for the body. Gu Jingze stroked her hair and looked at her. "Are you happy today?" "Yeah, I'm happy." Of course she was happy. It was fun to play with the helicopter. Gu Jingze continued, "Isn't it better than plucking roses?" How do you know about plucking roses?" He just gave me something. Gu Jingze narrowed his eyes at her. Roses aren't given to just anyone. Lin Che looked like she was about to cry. "So what was that just now? Was it a punishment? Or was he jealous?" She said, "I won't accept it next time." She looked at him. "So you were punishing me just now?" "No." "Was that a punishment?" Okay, it didn't seem like a punishment. He said, it was a warning just now. Now it's a punishment. What? Gu Jingze immediately flipped over again. Lin Che was pressed down firmly. She cried out, no, 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 if we continue. It's getting dark. She was really going to overindulge now. But this kind of punishment was too unfair. How is it different from the warning just now? Both made her feel very comfortable. When she got home that night, Lin Che quickly told Yu Minmin to get someone to destroy the roses. Otherwise, if Gu Jingze saw it, he would really kill her. Yu Minmin was still laughing at her over the phone. Idiot, but you deserve it. It's your fault for being so likable. Lin Che said, I didn't do anything. Yu Minmin said, okay, I got it. I'll get it done for you. But Star Brilliance called me and asked me what happened. Lin Che said, what else could it be? I won't let my people apologize for this. Yu Minmin said, I know. Han Yixing will definitely cause a ruckus. Be careful. Yes, I know. As for the male lead, you still have to wait and see. I don't think he'll come back, and even if he does, we won't want him anymore. I don't trust a playboy who harasses others when he's free. Lin Che said, yeah, the main point is that he likes to cause trouble. That's not good. We've been working together for a few months. How can he cause too much trouble? Yu Minmin said, that's right. Anyway, I've already sent you a few candidates. Take a look. Lin Che sat on the sofa and looked at the candidates for the male lead. As she looked, she ate and browsed the internet. Suddenly, she realized that there was a hot topic on the internet. Han Yixing had quit, saying that he was not respected. It turned out that Han Yixing had posted on Weibo. He said that he had quit Ray of Light. In it, he didn't say what exactly had happened. He only said, I know that Lin Che's drama was a success previously. It introduced a new type of television. In addition, domestically produced dramas are not doing very well. When a good drama comes out, everyone will be shocked and think that it's a show with a conscience. Hence, when this drama first came out, there were countless people who entered through the back door, hoping to get a role in it. I'm just an ordinary person, and I want a good role too. I want to be popular and famous, so I went. I was very happy to be chosen and felt that I had the ability. But when I joined the production team, I realized that it was different. Forgive me, I still have a bit of personality. Although you're a big star and a big producer, I have my own temper too. I don't want to give in to myself just because I want to be famous. Goodbye, you can find someone else. These words naturally made people's imaginations roam. What did he mean by that? Did he mean that Lin Che had just become famous, and now he was ignoring people because of his drama? He even belittled Lin Che a little, as if the drama's sudden popularity was due to the timing, but it might not have been the best. Now, because he didn't want to give in, he stopped acting. Why didn't he say that he asked Lin Che out on set and was beaten up before leaving? Lin Che was so angry that he immediately called Yu Minmin. Fuck, what's wrong with this Han Yixing? When did I not respect him? Yu Minmin said, of course he dares to say that. Even if we say that he wanted to ask you out and got angry because he couldn't, we have no proof. I want to ask him face to face. Should we have a confrontation? What about the surveillance cameras? There should be surveillance cameras, right? How was he at that time? At that time, he wanted to touch her back. But the thing is, it was too short. Before he could touch it, that youngster found out and came over to kick him. Moreover, his back was facing the surveillance camera, so we couldn't see his expression. Otherwise, if we compared his expression and let people see his vulgar expression, people would believe it too. Lin Che pursed his lips. He felt very indignant at being criticized like this. It didn't matter if he said anything else about her. He said that her drama was just so all right. Indeed, there were still some areas that weren't up to standard, but they had definitely put in a lot of effort into it. How could he say that? However, at this moment on the internet, many people saw Han Yixing's words and couldn't sit still anymore. Yixing did the right thing. We're all humans before we're celebrities. If he's so disrespectful, we shouldn't act in their drama anymore. Lin Che. I don't know him. The success of that drama is also due to the drama. She's the only one who paid for it. What does it have to do with her? They just got lucky, and they're already so famous. We should boycott all their dramas in the future. Of course, there were people who scolded and people who were doubtful. Lin Che is quite a good person. Han Yixing's words aren't proof. I think that someone who can make such a good drama shouldn't be too bad. Happy to be a big shot. Their artists are all quite good. None of them are arrogant. Chapter 1194. But very quickly, someone said, Han Yixing isn't their artist after all. She chose a lot of her own artists for the previous TV series. I don't know why she didn't choose one this time, but the male lead isn't from their own company, so he will definitely be ostracized. I think Han Yixing is being ostracized. When everyone saw what this person said, they immediately pushed this comment up. Other than Shui Yang, none of their artists can play the male lead. It's either because they aren't famous enough or they have other contracts. Now, they want Han Yixing's fame, but are unwilling to accept it, so they are pressuring Han Yixing. That's ridiculous. That's right, we support Han Yixing. Is Lin Che going to become a cancer in the entertainment industry? Let's not be their male lead anymore. Let's see who else can play this role. Han Yixing is so handsome. Why are they ostracizing him? It's not that Han Yixing doesn't want to watch it, but I think he's the most suitable for this role. I want to see who they will choose in the end. They won't let their artist be the male lead, right? They don't want to watch it. These topics fermented and caused countless speculations. Lin Che looked at it and snorted. Then his phone rang. It was Han Yixing. Lin Che smiled. What did he mean by calling it this time? Hello. Lin Che, my company asked me to post this Weibo post today. It's not like I want to do anything, he said. Lin Che continued to smile, her voice calm. Even she admired her acting skills. Seriously, she was really amazing in front of all these people. It's okay, just post it. Han Yixing said, if you haven't found the male lead, we can still continue to work together in private. I will talk to my company. And then? Are you going to pretend that nothing happened before? Yeah, my company was too extreme, but I can't do anything about it. Lin Che thought to himself, was the company being a little too extreme? Wasn't it because he didn't want to give up on this TV series? He just wanted to give Lin Che and the others a warning. Then, if he came back and continued acting, he could say something to calm things down and let this matter pass, right? From now on, everyone had to remember that he was the one who calmed things down. That was why the cast and crew were able to continue filming, so that they could treat him like a benefactor, right? Sorry then, she really didn't think of asking him to come back. Oh, why didn't you tell me earlier? I thought you were angry and left, so... No, it's fine as long as we go back. But I've already promised someone else to be the male lead. Han Yixing was immediately enraged. You. Lin Che continued to put on an act. Next time, you have to tell me earlier. Since she's already coming, I can't reject her. Han Yixing really felt that he had been played. Good. Lin Che, you did it on purpose, didn't you? There's a male lead? Why don't I believe it? Who is it? Take it out for us to see. Lin Che chuckled. It's a secret. Guess it yourself. Han Yixing said, I'm really looking forward to it. He really didn't believe it. In any case, he felt that there definitely wouldn't be anyone. Lin Che was definitely putting on an act. So be it. Anyway, he had already said all the good and bad things about him. Since she didn't want to give him face, then he would settle it himself. Lin Che hung up the phone and snorted angrily. She still wanted to come back. What did she think her crew was? Since she had already said it, she could go wherever she wanted. But she really didn't have a male lead candidate yet. After looking around for a long time, she still couldn't find a suitable one. The key was that the male lead candidate definitely couldn't be worse than Han Yixing's image. Otherwise, the audience would already have a preconceived impression of Han Yixing's image. If she chose someone worse than him, she would definitely be scolded. Then the choice would be even narrower. The image had to be suitable, not worse than him, and the popularity had to be about the same. After looking around for a long time, she finally gave up. She would think about it tomorrow. However, from the next day onwards, Star Brilliance became even more aggressive. Since Lin Che had already said that there wouldn't be any more reversals, they just wanted to take advantage of this resignation to hype up their popularity. It could be considered as stepping on Lin Che to the bottom, so that they could step on Lin Che and increase their fame. When Han Yixing attended the event, he directly said to the media, "It's said that the waters in our industry are very deep, so I always thought that it shouldn't be like this. But this time, it's really the first time I've encountered something like this." The reporter asked for the details. How are they doing with the crew? Han Yisheng looked a little troubled. Well, although I've already left the crew, I still have to keep it a secret. You're still keeping it a secret, even though you've already left. You're too professional. Yes, we have to have principles, he said. The reporter asked quickly, then reveal a little. We won't say it, just give a hint. After looking troubled, Han Yisheng finally said, Okay, actually, I don't know anything else. It's related to a boy. I saw a boy give Lin Che a gift, and then he said that I had to apologize. When the media heard this, they went crazy. Damn, this was big news. What boy? How old was the boy? Was Lin Che in a relationship with a younger man? What kind of boy was it? What kind of gift did he give? This. I won't say, haha. Lin Che looked at the news report and cursed in his heart. Didn't you say you had your principles? What happened to the original rules? Was that bullshit? KG and the others had already found out about this news. When Crooked Neck saw this, he immediately said, KG, you're on the news. KG nodded. Crooked Neck said, Someone exposed that you and Sister Che have a gossip. Quick, come and take a look. Only then did KG look over. When he saw what was said, he frowned. Crooked Neck was still smiling. Although your name wasn't mentioned, you're the first among us to be on the entertainment news. TSK, not bad. Your future is limitless. However, Crooked Neck was done speaking, only to see KG stand up without a word. Hey, KG, where are you going? Lin Che was still feeling melancholy at the crew. She saw that KG had actually called her. She quickly picked up the call, wanting to say that KG must have seen the news. KG said, I'm sorry this time. He hadn't expected it to be so big. Lin Che said, Why are you apologizing to me? You didn't do anything wrong. Are you trying to help me? It's just that in this industry, some things are a little complicated. Chapter 1195. KG still felt that it had something to do with him. I was a little too impulsive. After all, KG was still a university student and didn't interact much with people. Thus, when he saw some injustice, he was more impulsive. This kind of impulsiveness was purely a desire to do something. It was an impulse that would only occur when one's edges had not been ground down. In the future, when some people had seen more things in society and knew that fists couldn't solve problems, they would become mellow people without edges. Lin Che still admired these edges of KG. Lin Che said, All right, I'll take care of this. You don't have to worry. That person is called Han Yisheng, right? He asked. Lin Che said, Yeah. Okay, I got it. Oh, what are you doing? Don't worry about it anymore. It's okay. She also didn't want KG to continue letting his emotions affect his decisions. However, KG had already hung up. Feeling that something was wrong, Lin Che quickly called Crooked Neck. Is KG in the dormitory? She asked. Crooked Neck said, No, he just went out with his laptop and hasn't come back. Lin Che frowned. Crooked Neck said, What's wrong, Sister Che? Did something happen? No, I'm just worried that he wouldn't cause trouble for Han Yisheng. No way. How about this? I'll go look for him. Okay, I'll get someone to see if Han Yisheng is okay. On the other side, Han Yisheng immediately received a call from KG. Han Yisheng picked up the phone. It was an unfamiliar number, and he felt a little strange when he picked it up. Hello. KG's voice came from the other side. Han Yisheng, if you have anything to say, just come at me. What's there to say to Lin Che? You that rascal from the other day. That's right, it's me. You still have the nerve to come looking for me? Who are you and what do you do? I'm KG, he said. Oh, what's this? I've never heard of it before. Are you in the industry? A newcomer, right? That's not the name of a group, is it? Seriously, let me tell you, don't think that just because you have Lin Che's influence, you could become famous in the future. Don't you see? Lin Che doesn't dare to move around recklessly in the industry. Otherwise, if he offends someone, he won't be able to do anything. How dare you hit me? KG was still listening to them quietly. Han Yisheng scolded. I have nothing to say to a nobody like you. Don't even think about harassing me again. Where did you get my number? Did Lin Che give it to you? Tell her that it doesn't matter who comes looking for me. I'll see you on the news. With that, He hung up the phone. After hanging up, Han Yixing snorted. He thought to himself, "You want to apologize now? Look at who you are." KG stared at his phone and put it down silently. Then he took out his laptop, opened it, and said quickly, "Everyone, if you're still awake, do me a favor." He was talking to a group, and the name of the group was Pigeon. Pigeon was a noun. Others might not know what it meant, but everyone in their circle knew. Pigeons are hackers. The term hacker came from the English word gray pigeon. Gray pigeons were people who infiltrated other people's networks. Hence, their group was called Pigeon. The people in it were the top hackers in the country, and KG was one of them. Very quickly, someone in the group responded. KG said, "There's a person called Han Yixing." The next day, the weather was clear and the sun was shining brightly. It looked like an ordinary morning. However, Yu Minmin called Lin Che, who was having breakfast early in the morning. "Lin Che, bad news. Something has happened." "Huh? What happened?" Lin Che was anxious. Nothing good had happened recently, and she was feeling melancholy. Yu Minmin quickly said, "No, it's not bad. It's someone else. Quick, go online and search for Han Yixing's fan club website." Lin Che was puzzled. He took the tablet and opened the search engine. The moment he opened Han Yixing's website, fuck, what the heck is this? The entire website was filled with all kinds of pictures. There were chat records of Han Yixing, Han Yixing's personal photos, some private photos of Han Yixing, for example, in bed, stripped naked, dewy, flirting with someone that the girls were censored very tightly, but Han Yixing was completely exposed. What happened?" Lin Che asked. Yu Minmin said, "I don't know who hacked Han Yixing's website. Not only his website, but everything related to Han Yixing, Weibo, WeChat, and some other social networks have all been hacked. These chat records and whatnot have all been posted. These were also leaked when his phone was hacked. Yeah, his phone, computer, they've all been hacked. He's been cheating on girls, going out to date, hooking up with fans, and even taking photos of them and sending them to other colleagues. All these records have been hacked down. He's just a scumbag now." "That's right. Fuck, that's explosive. And the things he scolded you with, scolding you when he was chatting with other people. What's even more explosive is that he slept with a few company executives to obtain information on advertising resources." Haha, serves him right for slandering you." Lin Che was a little confused. How did this happen? Who did it? Blackmailing the computer. At this moment, Lin Che suddenly reacted. She thought of someone. She immediately picked up the phone and called Crooked Neck. "Sister Che, Crooked Neck, where's KG? He didn't come back yesterday." Yesterday, the things that Han Yixing posted. Could it be that he hacked into other people's computers and posted them? It's possible," Crooked Neck said. What do you mean by it's possible?" Lin Che said. He said, "Because KG isn't as simple as a university student. He started hacking at the age of 12 and has been doing it for so many years now. He's a famous hacker in the country. Okay? They have a circle called Gray Pigeon. In their circle, KG is also the boss. Among the top hackers in the country, KG is very famous. Everyone respects him very much. So, whatever he says, he can say it, and with a single call, hundreds will respond. If he wants to hack someone, he can definitely hack them to the point that even their mother won't be able to recognize them. He can dig out any hidden secrets." Lin Che didn't know that KG was so famous. Then these must be his handiwork. "He even called me yesterday," Crooked Neck said. Serves him right. Who asked that Han Yixing to provoke KG out of everyone else? When KG gets angry, no one can stop him. Okay? Lin Che also lit 2 candles in her heart for Han Yixing. "I wish you good luck. Unfortunately, from the looks of it, your luck won't be too good at the moment." Chapter 1196. Han Yixing quickly released a statement denouncing Han Yixing, saying that his Weibo and WeChat had been hacked and that his Tieba fan club had been hacked. However, the netizens weren't stupid. Some things could be faked, but some couldn't be faked. The recording couldn't be faked, and the voice couldn't be faked either. The voice recordings were all in the chat records. "I didn't expect Han Yixing to be such a scumbag. It doesn't matter if he dated her, but he shouldn't have tricked her. He's obviously lying to his fans. He said he's dating her, but he's actually cheating on her. That's right. Moreover, he even sent the girl's photo to others. Since you've asked her out, you should respect her privacy. You're just showing off by sending it to others. Isn't it for your own collection? You don't even know if the girl has agreed before you took the photo. That's right. He's such a scumbag. Although we're in a free society now, we should still respect girls. Everyone kept scolding. Even though the Tieba and fan club had already gotten rid of these things, the scolding would probably continue for a long time. Han Yixing was still scolding in the office. Lin Che must have gotten someone to do this. The people in the office were also very depressed. They had been scolded so badly, and they had worked overtime for the whole night. They didn't know what to do. How could they respond? Other than saying that they would take it to court, there was no other way. But the key was that they couldn't admit it. Once they admitted it, it would be difficult to clear their names in the future. Anyway, they could just pretend that nothing had happened and continue doing what they were supposed to do. In fact, there was a possibility that they could clear their names in the future. Hence, they could only wait in silence and not respond. Han Yixing still had the cheek to scold others. If he hadn't been so restless in private and acted so badly, he wouldn't have been caught red-handed. He was unmarried and didn't have a girlfriend. If he hadn't gone overboard, it wouldn't have mattered if he had a little sex life. But now everything was fine. Han Yixing had lost all his face. The girls who had been lying to him had also discovered the truth and were looking for trouble. He was really unlucky now. Of course, he was even more indignant. This time, he came to the office to ask the company to help him find trouble with Lin Che. But at this moment, his phone rang again. He opened it, and it was the same number from yesterday. He immediately picked up his phone. "Hey, you still dare to call?" You must have received today's message," KG said coldly on the phone. Han Yixing scolded. "You? Could it be that you did it?" "Fine. It's actually you who did it, right?" "That's right, I did it. Plus, you should know what's on your computer. If you don't want everyone to appreciate it, I hope you can shut your mouth and apologize to Lin Che." "You? Huh? Where did Lin Che find a pretty boy like you? I think you still haven't learned your lesson, have you?" Seeing that Han Yixing was cursing with a red face and neck, the staff hurriedly said, "Who is it? Who is it?" He was so angry that her face turned red. "I wonder if he's a small-time artist from Lin Che's side. He said he's called KG. I wonder if he's part of some young group." "What group? Let me check." The people in the company had originally thought that this person was an artist from Lin Che's side, who knew that, after checking, they would find out that this person was actually a famous hacker. You've offended the wrong person. This person is a famous hacker. No wonder they didn't have any problems with your place. Not to mention your place. Even our company has been searched by them. Our technology, our company's network, finance, they've all been browsed by them. You're really infuriating. How did you offend these people? How would Han Yixing know? What? Hacker? I didn't. Lin Che knows him. I thought it was. All right, don't think so. What do you think? Let's not respond to this matter anymore. After they hacked into our company, we don't know what they saw. It's not good to offend them. Let's just forget about it. Han Yixing really wanted to cry. Who knew that Lin Che would have such a person by his side? Han Yixing didn't respond anymore. Lin Che took advantage of the fact that he was still anxiously dealing with these matters to seriously choose an actor. However, after this incident, there were indeed many people who didn't want their artist to appear on the show. They heard that Lin Che hadn't chosen a male lead yet, and that there wasn't a suitable male lead. So everyone was thinking about what she should do this time. Lin Che was also a little anxious, but he really couldn't find a suitable candidate. But the day had already been chosen, so on this day, the press conference still had to be held as usual. However, a press conference without a male lead was still a little worrying. Yu Minmin saw that the front desk was ready and said to Lin Che, "You'll definitely be asked later. Just say what we agreed on." If the reporters asked, they would just say that it was still confidential. This couldn't be helped. They had high expectations for the male lead, so it wouldn't be suitable even if they randomly found a male lead. Lin Che nodded and looked at the reporters outside. They were all still standing there with excited looks on their faces. They were rubbing their palms together, wanting to ask some kind of question, Lin Che took a deep breath and started to walk out. The camera flashes focused. Everyone asked Lin Che, where's the male lead? Lin Che, there's so many actors here today. Which one is the male lead? Lin Che, after Han Yisheng, has the new male lead been chosen yet? Lin Che looked at everyone with a smile. You guys can guess. It's still confidential right now, but everyone will know in the future. The reporters looked at her and thought that this couldn't be hidden. Many people knew that they hadn't decided on the male lead yet. After Han Yisheng was messed with, he kept saying in the industry that everyone should join forces to take Lin Che down a notch, so that she wouldn't be so smug anymore. Everyone also felt that Lin Che's studio was doing better and better and would soon surpass their company. At this time, it was indeed time to give her a warning, so they gathered together and waited to see her make a fool of herself. Since Lin Che said that it was confidential, everyone naturally continued to ask, Lin Che, are you really keeping it a secret? Why did everyone say that you couldn't find the male lead for now? Can Light still shoot as scheduled? Lin Che smiled. Of course it can. Then who exactly is the male lead? Lin Che narrowed his eyes and looked at these people. Very good. They want to kick a man when he's down, don't they? However, at this moment, the male lead is here. A familiar male voice suddenly rang out. That person was. Chapter 1197. Gu Jingyu. The person walking past them was none other than Gu Jingyu, who had been studying abroad for 2 years. He was dressed in a gray trench coat, which fluttered in the wind as he walked. The crowd couldn't tell who he was at first. Because Gu Jingyu hadn't appeared in public for a long time, many people had forgotten that he was still in the entertainment industry. Yeah, Han Yisheng, Linda, Guokachin, these male idols, could they still be considered idols in front of Gu Jingyu? They were just young actors. They couldn't compare to an A-list superstar like Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu's face was as cold as ever. Looking inside, Lin Che raised his head and looked at him in astonishment. He smiled faintly. The corners of his lips curled up in a flirtatious way, which made the reporters around him gasp in surprise. Although there were countless handsome men in the entertainment industry, there weren't many that could make people excited at any time. Not only were there not many, it could even be said to be very few. Everyone's spirits were lifted. After a long time, they realized that Gu Jingyu was back. In an instant, the reporters surrounded him in a frenzy. Gu Jingyu, you're finally here. Gu Jingyu, are you returning to the entertainment industry? Where have you been these 2 years? Do you have anything to say to your fans? Do you have any plans now? The security guards almost couldn't control the situation. It was the Gu family's own security guards who hurried over to stop the reporters who were like wolves and tigers. They couldn't blame the reporters for being so difficult to deal with. It had been a long time since they had seen such explosive news. Gu Jingyu didn't care about them. He looked at Lin Che first and walked over. Lin Che looked at him in surprise and held his arm. He really wanted to see if this person was real. It was real indeed. It was still warm. You. Gu Jingyu. Lin Che wanted to ask why he was here. But Gu Jingyu curled his lips and looked at her calmly. Why? I'm coming back to act now, but I don't have any shows to film. Aren't you going to take me in? Lin Che was shocked. You really want to film it? Gu Jingyu raised an eyebrow. Do you want to? Of course that originally, his image was very suitable. He was tough and gentle at the same time. His eyes were sharp, and his looks were very recognizable. Moreover, his popularity was definitely top-notch, and his acting skills were needless to say that moreover, the two of them had worked together many times, and their tacit understanding was there. Lin Che hurriedly nodded. You said it. You're not allowed to go back on your word. He hadn't even read the script yet, so he didn't want to do it. That Gu Jingyu said, Of course. You're a man. If you want to do it, you'll do it. If you want to go back on your words, you could try it on later. When Lin Che saw this, he was very happy and immediately flattered. Hee. Do you even need to try? You'll definitely be able to do any of them. Gu Jingyu said, Hey, it's really different now. In the past, when I asked you to flatter me, you would directly flatter me and make me even angrier. You've improved now. Yes, Ba. Now you can slap a horse's neck. Hee. Lin Che looked at the reporters below, and his expression changed very quickly. Just now, he had a guilty look on his face, but now he just smiled and said, "Really, everyone? I just wanted to give everyone a surprise today, but I didn't expect you to be so anxious. All right, now that everyone is here, we can start." The press conference was originally for the main cast to meet everyone. The reporters were now completely attracted by Gu Jingyu, and all their questions were on him. However, Gu Jingyu smiled and said directly, "Sorry, I'm back, and I'm ready to meet everyone with my work. There's nothing else to say." Then, he arrogantly refused to be interviewed. Lin Che could only laugh dryly, and then said, "Yes, we hope that everyone's attention can be focused on our work. As for other things, we'll release the promotional photos later, and we'll also send out a press release to everyone. Don't worry, everyone." All right, since there was a press release, they didn't rush to ask anything else. Anyway, Gu Jingyu really didn't like to be interviewed. It was like this in the past. On this day, from the moment Gu Jingyu appeared, all the media and entertainment news were directly flooded by him. Gu Jingyu's attractiveness had once again been witnessed by the crowd. Back then, he left without a word, and now, he came back like a whirlwind. Gu Jingyu was really stubborn to the extreme. But it was also because of this stubbornness that left a deep impression on people. The media said that Gu Jingyu had returned and joined Lin Che's new drama, Light. The two of them worked together again at the press conference, and in the future, Light would really shine brightly. Those who had initially wanted to see which artist Lin Che could choose to act in the role were now filled with regret. They had thought that she really couldn't find anyone to act in the role and would end up begging them. Now, things were looking good. How did she manage to invite Gu Jingyu, who was in a semi-retired state? This was too explosive. Han Yixing's company instantly softened. At first, they wanted to say that no matter who played the male lead, they would use their domineering Han Yixing to hype up the drama. When the drama became popular, they would also become popular, which would make Lin Che proud. But now, who would dare to compare themselves with Gu Jingyu? Whoever compared themselves with Gu Jingyu would be slapped in the face. The internet was also filled with jubilation. They were all saying, with Gu Jingyu in the drama, it will definitely be very good. I've read the original novel. The male lead is so domineering. Only Gu Jingyu can handle it. Han Yixing is too feminine compared to him. Gu Jingyu is still better. Yeah, Han Yixing isn't as good-looking as Gu Jingyu. Han Yixing's acting can't compare to Gu Jingyu's at all. In the game, he is very handsome, holding an immortal artifact, as immortal as he wants, and his gaze must be sharp. Can Han Yixing do it? Han Yixing really wanted to, cry until he fainted in the toilet. In the back, Lin Che looked at Gu Jingyu. "Where did you go? You scare me to death when you suddenly came back." Gu Jingyu said, "I went out for a trip. It's so annoying to work every day. Then you suddenly came back. You didn't tell me in advance. Did you really think about acting?" Gu Jingyu looked calm. "Yeah, I heard from my second brother that you wanted to make a game, so I want to play it. I thought it was pretty good, so I wanted to act in it." "Ah, you even played our game." Lin Che smiled and said, "Is it really fun?" "Yeah, it's really not bad. Where did you come up with the idea to make the game?" Gu Jingyu tapped Lin Che's forehead. Lin Che said, "Isn't it to make money? All right, I'll give you the contract later. This is the script. You can take a look." Chapter 1198. Gu Jingyu said, "Okay, but I don't have a place to stay at the moment. I might have to stay at your place first." "Huh?" Lin Che said, "Why don't you have a place to stay?" Gu Jingyu said, "I went out to have fun, and my family deducted all my credit cards. Don't you know?" "Duh. All right." How willful. Yu Minmin came in from behind and was a little surprised to see Gu Jingyu. What happened just now was real. Gu Jingyu had really come. Lin Che said to Yu Minmin, "Go and look at the contract. We'll discuss how to shoot the show." Yu Minmin nodded and quickly went to prepare. After she went out, she pulled Lin Che over and said, "Is he really going to shoot the show?" "Of course," Lin Che said. "He promised, and he won't go back on his word." Yu Minmin said, "We're going to be rich this time." Lin Che said, He hasn't even looked at the script. Sigh. I can't get used to it so suddenly. Ha ha. You can't get used to it. Just wait until we go back and count the money. I'm going to contact the TV station. Whoever wants to buy our show must pay double the price. Gu Jingyu was a living signboard. Did they still need advertisements? Yu Minmin was elated and quickly went to prepare for the publicity. Gu Jingyu's sudden addition indicated that their publicity model had to be changed immediately. The original model was a bit of a loser. Now that Gu Jingyu was here, they had to make this drama more and more high-end so that it would be worthy of Gu Jingyu's identity. Lin Shay brought Gu Jingyu home. At home, Gu Jingyu saw the people outside as soon as he came in. Hey, are these your people? He asked Dongzi and the others. Lin Shay said, yes. Other than the people in the past, her people were still growing. At first, she didn't have many bodyguards. Later, Gu Jingza helped her add a few more. Gu Jingyu said, second brother actually prepared bodyguards for you. Not bad, not bad. These people are very capable. There are many people in the Gu family who have bodyguards. How could you tell that they're my people and not Gu Jingza's? Lin Shay said. Gu Jingyu said, do you think I don't know how second brother uses people? He doesn't change people often. I saw these new faces, so I asked. As expected, second brother really dotes on you. Why did you come back? Gu Jingza came out and asked Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu smiled. I don't have a place to stay now that I'm back, so I'll stay with you for a few days. Lin Shay said, yeah. How did he get his things confiscated? He just came today. You didn't see it. He ran to our press conference and said that he wanted to act in our TV series. The reporters went crazy. Okay? Gu Jingyu said, those reporters are making a big deal out of nothing. Gu Jingza said, it's because he was disobedient and ran around. He snorted and walked down. You want to stay here? Gu Jingyu said, otherwise, how would I have the money to live elsewhere? Oh, did you sign a contract with Lin Shay? Not yet. How much are you going to be paid? Well, I'll give you whatever you want. We're on the same side, so there's no need to be so superficial. Just give me my usual rate. His usual rate? She didn't know. Gu Jingza said, then you can leave. What? Lin Shay and Gu Jingyu looked at Gu Jingza together. Gu Jingza said, otherwise I'll use your pay as rent, and I'll get someone to clean up the same room as you. Hey, you're too black-hearted. Your room is gilded. It's so expensive, Gu Jingyu protested. Gu Jingza said, otherwise, I can tell my family that you're staying here. Obviously, Gu Jingyu didn't want others to know. Hence, he rolled his eyes and said unhappily, Okay, I'll use the pay as rent. Then can you give me a bigger room? Yeah, you can choose any room upstairs. Gu Jingza smiled. Gu Jingyu snorted. How black-hearted. Lin Shay was stunned. She looked at Gu Jingza. Wow, is that okay? His pay should be very expensive. Gu Jingza patted her back and looked at her. This is how business is. You have to judge the situation. Every penny has to be used. If you can save it, save it. But he didn't have to save it like that. Gu Jingza was really black-hearted, but Lin Shay liked it. Gu Jingyu stayed there for the night. He went to see the two kids. Gu Shinian was doing his homework, while Shi Yuan was sitting on the floor playing. He was leaning against the cushion, holding something and looking very happy. Gu Jingyu said, the kids are already so big. It's a pity that they look like second brother. Sigh. I hope they're not as black-hearted as second brother. Lin Shay said, it's because you offended the family that he had something to use against you. Oh yeah, why did you fall out with your family? It's because they wanted me to marry a woman. I didn't want to, so I ran away. No way. Is that woman that bad? It's not that bad. I just don't want to get married yet. Okay, then when are you going to get married? Sigh. It's hard to find a good woman. I don't want to get married for now. Not every man is as lucky as second brother to meet someone he likes so quickly. He glanced at Lin Shay with a smile. Lin Shay snorted. That's a good flatterer. At first, he was the only one in the family who hadn't settled down yet. It was indeed a little worrying. In the morning, Lin Shay and Gu Jingyu went to the set together. Yu Minmin was still working on the contract with Lin Shay. She was discussing with Lin Shay how much they should pay Gu Jingyu or give him a bonus. Lin Shay said, no need. Why? He said he doesn't want it. No, he want to stay at my house. Gu Jingza said that he can use his pay to pay the rent. Damn, your house rent is so expensive. But I don't know how much he gets paid. I asked them yesterday, and they said that he has been making movies for the past few years. His salary for each movie is 20 million, plus his share of the box office earnings, the total. The total sum, his most recent movie earned a total of 240 million. Damn, is it 100 million yuan? That's right. Then, there should be quite a lot of TV shows. Lin Che's mouth twitched. He felt that their house rent was too expensive. Yu Minmin said, not bad, not bad. Your almighty is really black-hearted. Lin Che said, I don't know either. Maybe I should just symbolically give him some pay. But I can't afford to give him too much. The two of them discussed for a long time and decided to give him some pay as a token. In the back, when Mu Firan heard that Gu Jingyu was back, she specially came to visit him. She and Gu Jingyu were old friends who had worked together several times. However, they hadn't seen each other for a few years. Chapter 1199. Gu Jingyu, you still came back? I thought you ran away and never came back, Mu Firan said with a smile. Gu Jingyu looked at Mu Firan. Why? You can come back, but I can't? Huh. I came back to make a living. As for you, you have money and fame. If you don't want to act, you don't have to. Forget it. I'm poor now. I have to stay in someone else's house to barely fill my stomach. The two of them teased each other, and the others couldn't get a word in. They smiled and looked at the two former heavenly kings and empresses standing together again today. They had once led an era, but now, the little actor Lin Che, who they looked up to in the past, had also begun to lead another era. While everyone was sighing, Mu Firan and the others had already greeted each other. Mu Firan said to Lin Che, with Gu Jingyu in the cast, your TV series will definitely be very popular. Lin Che said, we still have to look at other things. Don't get scolded for letting Gu Jingyu down and saying that we wasted their Gu Jingyu. Lin Che also had some concerns. At this moment, Mu Firan called. She quickly answered the phone. It's from my family. Your family has been contacting you frequently recently, Lin Che said. Mu Firan didn't want to say anything more. She smiled faintly and left. In Mu Firan's house, Mother Mu and her brother arrived together. Looking at the yard from the outside, it seemed that there was no one inside. They jumped over the fence at the door. Sister, I don't think you're here. Did you see any wild men inside? I didn't see them. Are there any men's clothes? Hey, look, Mom. Isn't that a man's clothes over there? A black jacket? It must be. It seems that sister really has a man. All right, that little wench. I told her to be careful. She must have been tricked. While they were talking, they saw someone coming in from outside. He did look like a hooligan. His skin was fair and tender, and he wasn't old either. The person who came in was actually a subordinate of Black Hawk. He came over with ease, went in to pick up his clothes, opened the door, and left. He didn't even notice if there was anyone there. Mother Mu exclaimed, Oh, is that the one just now? This Firan is ridiculous. Then, Mother Mu hurriedly called Mu Firan. He also asked Mu Firan to come home when she was free. When Mu Firan returned home, she saw that her mother and younger brother were both there. However, there was also a young man beside them. The man's eyes lit up when he saw Mu Firan. Mother Mu said, Firan, you're here. Just in time. We have guests at home. We'll have dinner at home later. I'll ask someone to prepare some food. The family also hired a nanny to help with the cooking and cleaning. Usually, Mother Mu liked to go out to play mahjong and did not like to do housework. Mu Firan froze and thought of the Mercedes-Benz Metaxas she had just seen outside. So was his car. Hey, Mom, tell me clearly, what are you going to do now? Mother Mu said, Now? Didn't I say that we have guests at home? You have to accompany them. The man looked at Mu Firan and thought that she was much prettier in real life than on TV. Although she was already very beautiful on TV, she was not even 1/10 as beautiful as she was in real life. Indeed, she looked more like a fairy in real life. Mom, why should I accompany them? I don't even know them. Mu Firan tugged at her mother. Mother Mu said, Oh, this is Mr. Chun Hao. Mother Mu pulled Mu Firan over and said in a low voice, His family runs a company and is very rich. He is known as one of the four princes of Beijing. In B City, everyone knows about him. What four princes of Beijing? Mu Firen said, I'm not talking about who he is. Okay. You guys talk first. I'll go prepare the food. Mother Mu didn't waste time talking to her. She sent her away and went into the kitchen. Chen Hao looked at Mu Firen. Oh, Miss Firen, you're prettier than on TV. Mu Firen looked at him and laughed dryly. Sorry, I'm a little busy. I'll go first. Oh, Miss Firen, I'm a fan of your movies. Mu Firen really didn't like such an opening. Oh, really? Thank you for your support. Oh, Miss Firen, since you're here, why don't you sit down and talk? But I'm really busy. Don't be like this, Miss Firen. I think you know what your mom means. But old people are always like this, so let's give them some face. I was dragged here by my dad, but I don't think it's good to go back like this. They might be angry. Why don't we sit down and talk? Anyway, it's just a meal and nothing will happen. If you're not interested, you could just stop contacting them later. Mu Firen listened to his words. Since he was so polite, she didn't want to slap his smiling face, so she sat down. He stared at Mu Firen and thought to himself, I didn't expect that the beauty I used to watch on TV would appear in front of me now. It was said that these stars and actresses were no different from those prostitutes. They all wanted to turn over a new leaf after becoming famous, so they found a rich man to marry and live a good life. Of course, he didn't want such a wife, but he still wanted to get to know her after hearing that it was her. Anyway, he wasn't really going to get married. I heard that you have a child. Well, yes. Mu Firen leaned against the wall and didn't bother to answer him. He said, Actually, I like children. I can bring them with me next time. You don't have to. By the way, my family's restaurant is about to open soon. You can come and have a look. It's here. He took out a business card and handed it to her with both hands. Mu Firen took it and saw that it was a restaurant that served seafood. Really? I'll go and have a look when I have time. You can come during the opening ceremony. We've invited a lot of business celebrities. No. Mu Firen stood up and was about to leave. Mu Firen hurried out to stop her. Firen, don't be like this. You. All right, Mom, I've said it before. I have a boyfriend. Can you stop being like this? Chen Hao stood up immediately. You have a boyfriend? Mu Firen's face turned red and black, and she said embarrassedly, No, she was cheated. I just want to pull her back. It's true that she has a boyfriend, but he's a liar who wants to cheat her of her money. What liar? Have you seen him before? Just call him a liar. Of course I've seen him before. Chapter 1200. Mu Firen looked at her mother strangely. When did you see him? Well, I've seen him anyway. You've been to my house to look for him. Mu Firen was even more annoyed at the thought that she might have gone to He Ying's place. Mother Mu rolled her eyes. She knew that she couldn't hide it any longer, so she snorted and said, Look at what kind of taste you have. Why did you find such a person? I told you that you were deceived, but you didn't believe me. You and him are not suitable at all. You have a different status. Moreover, how can he be worthy of you? Humph. He doesn't even know what kind of person he is. How dare he touch you? Mu Firen was puzzled. Was she talking about He Ying? Why did she feel that He Ying wasn't that annoying? But that might not be the case. She thought that He Ying was very arrogant. Maybe he had said something that made her mother unhappy. Mu Firen said, Since you've seen him, what else is there to say? It saves me the trouble of introducing him. Let him come. Let him come. Let him see if he has the nerve to come here, Mother Mu said. Mu Firen said, What can you do if he comes? Mu Firen said, What can you do if he comes? If he doesn't even have the guts to come here to see me, how can he say he's your boyfriend? Even if you said you weren't cheated, bring it out to prove it. Let me tell you, if he comes here for less than a minute, I can expose him and make him feel ashamed. If he dared to come, she would scold him to death. She wanted him to cheat on her daughter by letting him be a gigolo and doing nothing. Mu Firen looked at her mother. She knew that she couldn't hide the fact that she had a boyfriend from her family. They would meet sooner or later. Since she had already seen him, it wouldn't hurt to ask for Mo Jinyin's opinion and come to see him. Mu Firen said, Okay, I can ask for his opinion. If he's willing to come. If you ask for his opinion, he definitely won't come. Mother Mu interrupted her. Mu Firen didn't want to say more. She picked up the phone and walked out. She dialed Mo Jinyan's number. Soon, Mo Jinyan picked up. Firen, what's wrong? Mu Firen said, Jinyan, my family knows that I have a boyfriend. Oh, if you know, then you know. What? You still want to hide it from me? Of course not, but now they want to see you. I'm wondering if you want to see them. Mo Jinyan said, Aya, we're meeting our son-in-law so soon. Really, I haven't prepared any gifts yet. Duh. He really agreed without hesitation. No, my family. Jingyan, to tell you the truth, they don't really agree, so I'm worried that they will make things difficult for you when you come. This kind of matter naturally had to be discussed in advance. When Mo Jinyan heard this, he chuckled. Disagree? He said, so that's how it is. Okay, it's okay if you don't agree. After all, you're the baby of your family. It's only right that you pay more attention to him and have higher expectations of your boyfriend. Okay, I'll go over now. Wait for me. Hearing this, Mu Firen panicked a little. He said, hang up. Wait for me. Mu Firen nodded and hung up the phone. There was something about Mo Jinyan that was unimaginably gentlemanly. He would always wait for others to hang up before hanging up. It was like this every time, which made people feel that he was very considerate. When Mu Firen hung up the phone, she heard her mother saying to Chun Hao, we've seen him before. He's just a pretty boy. Really, he doesn't even know that he's been cheated. But you'll see when he comes. If he dares to say that he's Firen's boyfriend when he's standing next to you, then he's really shameless. Mu Firen was puzzled. Why did she feel that Black Eagle was also a pretty boy? He didn't look like a pretty boy either. Although he was very fair, he wasn't small either. After waiting for about half an hour, Mo Jinyan arrived. The car stopped outside, and someone walked in with a gift in his arms. At first glance, it was a box of wine. On a closer look, it seemed to be the kind of famous wine that cost a few thousand a bottle. Martel. The people who came in were the young men who often followed Black Eagle. The one in front was a very common one. When he saw Mu Firen, he greeted, hello, sister-in-law. Then he walked straight in. The people behind him were carrying wine. This time, it was a different kind of red wine, but it also looked very expensive. These people inside. Mother Mu saw the boy walking in. She took a closer look. Wasn't he the one she had seen at Mu Firen's house? Hey, it's him, she called out. Unexpectedly, she saw that he was carrying a box of Martel wine. That wine seemed to cost a few thousand a bottle, and he had brought so much with him. She was a little surprised at first, but then she thought that even if it was expensive, it must have been a lot of money. She rolled up her sleeves and was about to curse. However, he didn't expect that a few people would follow behind him. Each of them was carrying a box of wine. They looked like different brands, but all of them were of the same quality as Martel wine. Oh my, this is that Mother Mu was a little confused. At the end of the line, a man in a leather coat stepped in. As he stood there, it was as if all the people around him were overshadowed in an instant. He saw Mu Firen first. With a big smile, he walked over like a gust of wind. Firen, I'm here. Mu Firen pointed inside in surprise. Those things. Oh, you must give gifts when you visit for the first time. I asked them, and they said that most first-time visitors would give wine and cigarettes. They said to give wine, but they didn't say to move the liquor store here. Mu Firen thought that the next time these people gave him ideas, they'd better talk about the quantity first. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to control the quantity. Moving so many boxes back and forth in such a short time, that her house's hall was full of boxes. At this moment, Mother Mu walked out in surprise. She stared at the man who was emitting light like the sun. He stood there domineeringly, looking indomitable and indomitable. For a moment, people didn't dare to blink their eyes. Who is this? Firen, this is... Mu Firen said, this is the boyfriend I was talking about. Oh, it's not the one I saw before. Mother Mu pointed at the boy. Then he... Oh, he's his subordinate. Mother Mu cursed inwardly. She even mistook him for someone else. At this moment, the man in front of her was dignified and had a different aura, but she didn't know what he did. However, at this moment, Chun Hao also walked out in surprise. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.